Get your things put in there. I can't hear nothing either.
Now, come here.
Come here, tell me more.
So you're out.
I thought you might have forgot about this and I was
No.
going to bring it up. Is your jingles all right
Forget
there?
about it. Go ahead. Yep. So where were we yesterday?
No. See, you had me on I was on a roll yesterday. Now,
Well, I'll get you back on that roll. Okay. So where were you recently on a wee trip?
we had a lovely time in Lourdes.
You were at Lourdes. You had a fantastic time.
4 days.
You didn't pray for me or the listeners.
No, well, I had
Right.
enough to play for.
So
do you know?
you were at mass, were you? Or what were you
Yes,
doing?
a special mass down at the grotto. Do you know you're getting into the way of things and you say your prayers and that? But the grotto mass is very, very special. And do you know the crowd that went? We were all there for the mass.
And it's a very serious setting, isn't it?
Oh, there's like security people there,
Yeah.
and not like security, heavy security, but there's guarded ropes and stuff. There's a certain place
a
where
lot of ceremony, a lot of respect, a lot of
a lot
stuff.
of love and peace
Yeah.
and prayer and everything, and lovely and just calmness and loveliness.
Yes.
And during the first couple of days, it says to me, it says, would your son like to read a prayer of the faithful? This is wee Lee. And Lee is kind of like my wife Claire, likes to be behind the scenes and stuff. So I says, God. So we practiced. It was a big thing to practicing in the bathroom the morning of the hotel, to get. I say, open your mouth, read this out, good luck, because it's going worldwide and stuff on the web and that, and hundreds of people there. So it's a very important thing. So then we went down to the mass in the grotto, and we just arrived on time, near enough as you run late, and then you had to go up, around this wee where the rock is and the grotto is, in this other wee area where they were singing and stuff. So me and Lee had to get him lined up to do the prayer of faithful. So once that was over, I could relax then, and I says, well done, you did brilliant and all that.
He did.
Proud daddy.
Yeah.
And stuff. And then it was the Holy Communion, and everything could go nice and relaxed. Me and Lee's gluten free, for the Holy Communion and stuff. But this priest, and a lot of priests there during the mass, and then this priest waved me over like this here.
And an Irish priest?
Yeah.
Okay.
No, he was on the trip, but I never really got chatting to him until...
Young guy, older priest?
Well, he turned 90.
90?
90.
Okay.
And
So
lovely.
He beckoned you over this...
He called me over during the Holy Communion. It's very official, and he called me over. And I thought it was about Holy Communion or something. Now, maybe I had my Holy Communion, but he called me over and I said, God, right? And so I went over and he held my hand, right? This is in the grotto. And he just looked at me, eyeballed me, and eyeballed him. And he says, Our Lady has reached out to me. I'm going. I'm drawn in.
Wow, what an
Because of the moment.
Yeah.
And he's holding my hand.
Yes.
And I'm looking at him. He says, Our Lady's reached out to me. I'm going, my God.
What's this about?
Oh, I was getting all hot and
Did
everything.
you get like a wee...
I don't know what I got. I was just taken back. Because the whole procession of the Holy Communion is going on. He says, Our Lady has reached out to us. She wants me to ask. And I'm going, my God, what's he going to ask me? He says, wants me to ask you for you to give him a clue for the secret sound during that moment. And I kind of hit him a slap on the shoulder as you would do to a friend. I says, Father, I says, you devil, what a time to be asking me such things as that. Because he had me drawn hook, line and sinker into that, because it was just the...
Did you give him a clue though?
No, it did not, but I had mighty crack with him afterwards. It was Father Willie McMenamin. What a lovely man he is. And I had many there, but a crack and passing with him after that.
good.
But he is such a
What
lovely...
a sense of humour.
Oh, but
To
he...
draw you in like that.
Oh, he
Take
had
your
me.
hand,
But
stare into your eyes.
No, but at that time, in the grotto, he had me. Because I thought he was going to give me something,
I know what you mean, yeah.
you know?
Like a message, a genuine message. But he did to give you a message. Now that means you have to give a secret. You have to give
but
a clue.
he's a lovely priest, and so many lovely priests out there. But
All right,
he's just a
listen,
nice gentleman.
It's a lovely story. All right, Lee, thanks so very much for that. And
All right.
thank you for sharing it
Thank
as
you.
promised. I appreciate it. Okay, 9:01. Over to Donald Kavanagh with a news update.
Thank you, Greg. Good morning. The Dáil's been told the state is saving €500 million a year because of the work being done by family carers in Donegal, with a further €375 million being saved in Sligo and and Leitrim. The figures were presented by Deputy Marianne Harkin during a Dáil debate on the abolition of the means test for carers allowance, a measure she says should be called the mean test. Deputy Harkin said many carers find themselves cutting back on essentials while being denied the carers allowance, and that must change. Calling for the implementation of a participatory model under which all carers qualify, she urged the government to look at the contribution that family carers are making.
There's lots of figures about what care saved the state. The figure of 20 billion is one that we often hear. Based on those figures, carers in my own constituency in Sligo probably saved the state around 250 million every single year. In Leitrim it's 125 and in Donegal it's 500 million. Yet the cost of abolishing the means test would be 397 million for the entire country.
Cancer services here have been underfunded by €180 million since 2017. The Irish Cancer Society is launching its Budget 2025 submission today, calling on the government to properly invest in the National Cancer Strategy and also to provide more support to patients. It says the scheme's budget should have increased incrementally by €110 million over the past 7 years, but it was only topped up by 65 million. The CEO of the Society, Avril Power, says a lot's been lost because of the lack of funding.
Screening hasn't been expanded as planned. Waiting times for cancer tests are consistently exceeded and surgeries are frequently delayed. And people with cancer are paying the price in poorer outcomes and quality of life. So that's why we're calling on the government today to change that by properly funding cancer services in next year's budget. People are also struggling to cope with the financial toll of cancer.
Aer Lingus is trying to determine how badly next week's industrial action will impact on its passengers and business. IALPA confirmed last night pilots won't work overtime or perform any out-of-hours duties requested by management from next Wednesday. The indefinite work to rule comes after a vote to take action over pay. The airline says it's working to ensure any disruption to flights next week will be minimal. A Dáil demonstration will take place today calling for the end to sub-minimum wages for younger workers. Employers don't have to pay under 20s the same rates as older staff. That's something the Mandate Trade Union says is grossly unfair. The Low Pay Commission has also recommended the same minimum wage for all. Mandate's Greg Caffrey denies claims that a higher rate of pay would encourage young people to leave education early.
The removal of sub-minimum wage rates across the EU reports have confirmed that it's beneficial to young workers to keep them in education and help them go on to further education after their school years.
Weather forecast dry today with long spells of hazy sunshine in light westerly or variable breezes, turning cloudier later on in the evening with highest temperatures this afternoon of 16 to 20 degrees Celsius, coolest near coasts. We're back with news again at 10. Check all of today's news on our website, highlandradio.com. But for now, from the news team, good morning.
To open a restaurant. Streaming exclusively on Disney+.
What will we call this place?
The Emmy award-winning series FX's The Bear
We're gonna get a star.
is back for a brand new season.
If any food critics come in, it's code red. They're going too slow.
You need to calm down. This is a dysfunctional kitchen.
Show me a functional one.
Don't miss FX's The Bear.
This is what's up now.
New season streaming soon, exclusively on Disney+. 18+ subscription required. T's and C's apply.
And now, it's time for the talk of the Northwest, the 9 to Noon Show, with Greg Hughes on Highland Radio.
Hello and a very good morning to you. You're very welcome along to the 9 till Noon Show for this Wednesday, the 19th of June. And finally, we have a day that feels a little bit like summer across the northwest of Ireland. So hopefully, maybe you've got a bit of time to get out and enjoy it. We are going business as usual, of course, and the lines are open for you. You can text or WhatsApp us on 086 60 25,000, 086 60 25,000. You can send your voice notes to that number as well on WhatsApp, or if you want to give us a call, it's 07491 25,000. And for comments via email, it is as simple as comments@highlandradio.com. And of course, you can watch the show on Facebook, on Highland Hub, on Facebook, Highland News and Sport, and you can watch it on your big screen TV if it's a smart TV, or your Fire Stick on YouTube. Just search Highland Radio Ireland. Right, let's see what's making the front and inside some of the papers today. And the Finn Valley Voices message is simple: keep the race in its place. The Donegal Road Safety Working Group and An Garda Síochána have issued a road safety appeal to everyone attending the Donegal International Rally this weekend. The 3-day event starts on Friday the 21st of June and is expected to attract thousands of spectators, providing a fantastic opportunity for Donegal to showcase its attractions. On to the Nationals now, and it feels a little bit like old news, but all the front pages focus on Eamon Ryan's decision to step away from the Green Party, and it seems elected politics as a whole. Candidates for the leadership of the Green Party are expected to declare their interest and begin campaigning this morning following the shock resignation of party leader Eamon Ryan yesterday. This is the Irish Times. Deputy leader Catherine Martin said yesterday evening that she would not be a candidate, opening the field to contenders likely to include Minister for Integration Roderick O'Gorman and Super Junior Minister and Senator Pippa Hackett, with Mr O'Gorman considered by some colleagues the front runner. Senior party sources said any potential candidates would not declare last night out of respect for Mr Ryan, but added they fully expect a contest for the position. So Pippa Hackett is being backed there by her colleague Catherine Martin. I think Senator Pauline O'Reilly is also backing Pippa Hackett. She was mentioned yesterday as a potential new leader. Anyone who's a member of the Green Party can actually contest the leadership. You just need 50 Green Party signatures. Senior party sources said any potential candidates would not declare last night. I just read that. The Green Party's executive committee met last night to discuss the leadership contest, with party members expecting a short nomination period and a contest of 3 weeks during which there would be hustings events, perhaps online, as in the 2020 leadership race. And, fair play to anyone who would step up to be the leader of the Green Party. It's not a popular position at the moment. I think, the other parties are going to start hanging a lot of the problems on the Greens now as we head into election mode. It'll be a tough old time to be the Green Party leader, especially considering that they've lost so much representation, 20 plus councillors. Is it 2 MEPs? And we haven't even got to the general election yet. In the Irish Independent, there's a story here about cancer patients hit with excess parking fees. And if you have anything to comment on this, I'd be very interested in what you have to say, of course. Vulnerable cancer patients are being hit with excessive car parking fees in several hospitals, which are still not offering a discount. The Irish Cancer Society, in its pre-budget submission, said cancer patients in some parts of the country have free parking and other hospitals offer concessions, but many are being hit with charges of $3.20 an hour or more. The charity warns of a €180 million hole in national cancer funding across the care system, which means patients are not being given the chance of a best outcome. However, they can also face a financial toll due to hidden costs, including hospital car parking fees, and many people unable to work. They could be the principal breadwinner in the house. It's a very, very expensive process to go through for many people. Letterkenny University Hospital isn't mentioned. I think they do have a system in place. I'm open to correction on that. But another hospital that we attend quite regularly is Galway University Hospital. Full fees are charged in Galway University Hospital, as well as Portlaoise Hospital, Our Lady of Lourdes Hospital in Drogheda, University Hospital Waterford, and Mullingar Hospital in County Westmeath. So, as I say, it does. I was going to say it does feel unfair. It is clearly unfair. But if that's something that you've been impacted by, please let us know. 086 60 25,000. The Irish Daily Mail this morning, if you are planning a flight in the next wee while, and it is with Aer Lingus, this will be of interest to you. The worst fears of holidaymakers were realised yesterday as Aer Lingus pilots announced plans to take industrial action next week. The Irish Airlines Pilot Association informed the airline it will begin an indefinite work to rule starting Wednesday. Aer Lingus has warned passengers that a significant level of disruption is now inevitable. Members of IALPA, which represents hundreds of pilots at Aer Lingus, earlier this week voted 99% in favour of taking industrial action in an ongoing dispute over pay. The work to rule action means pilots will not work overtime, only fly on published rosters, and will not answer calls outside of work hours. It's estimated that up to 40,000 passengers per day could be impacted, costing Aer Lingus between 20 and 25 million euro a day. So I'm gutted if that does affect or may affect any of you out there, especially if it's a family holiday that you've been planning for a while and so on. On to the Irish Daily Star, and maggots and worms were found in food served at accommodation for Ukrainian refugees, while others reported undercooked or rotten food, a study shows. 1,000 Ukrainian refugees living in temporary state accommodation were surveyed by migrant rights organisation Lourdes. 1/3 reported that the quality of their housing is very poor or poor. Undercooked or rotten food was reported in 2 centres, while worms and maggots in food were reported in 1. In 3 centres, cases of food poisoning were highlighted. In 6 centres, respondents said they were mice or rats present. 60% of those surveyed said the quality of meals in the centres are very poor or poor. One refugee surveyed said, "I'm very sick," while another reported complete unsanitary conditions. Doris CEO John Lannon said the organisation is asking the Department of Children and Integration to urgently take action over the complaints there. Okay. On to the Irish Daily Mirror now. And criminals and people who have fraudulently obtained a citizen's certificate in Ireland could have them revoked. New legislation that will allow for Irish citizens to be stripped of their citizenship will be enacted before the Dáil's summer break. Justice Minister Helen McEntee said, or told the Cabinet yesterday, the law would only be used in limited circumstances. This would include if a person has fraudulently gained a citizenship cert, or if a person is a credible threat to the state. The proposed law is part of a list of new immigration measures, including opting into the EU Migration and Asylum Pact, which of course has proved controversial. That's being brought forward by government to tighten border security, we're told. I'm really not quite sure why that pact is needed to, firstly, speed up processing, secondly, establish centres, or thirdly, tighten up the borders. I don't see how signing into this pact does those things. I'm not saying I'm anti the pact. I don't really know enough about it, really, because there's so much information out there. But a lot of the stuff that is promised through the pact, we could or definitely should have been doing already. And only 5 hours was allowed to debate this pact as well. Speaking in the Dáil, Minister McEntee said Ireland cannot deal with the issue of migration by ourselves, adding, "It's only by standing together as members of the European Union that we can deal with this global issue." The proposed measures include rapid processing of people who arrive without documentation from safe countries and increased deportation of those who are refused protection. And as part of it, and you can tell we're very much in election mode, flights will be chartered to deport people who refuse protection. It's not a new practice, but I think tenders went out there this week for people to provide that service. That's what it's saying anyway. And finally, there's another Derry girl on the scene, and many of you will be going down to see her in a week and a half. Ireland can celebrate a second famous Swift after singer Taylor's roots were tracked back to Derry, no less. Gulliver's Travels author Jonathan Swift, who died in 1745, aged 77, is remembered as one of the country's best satirists. Now, global superstar Tay-Tay, Taylor Swift's secret Irish roots have been revealed in a tale romantic enough to be an echo of her hit love story, with Taylor preparing to dazzle Irish fans with gigs in Dublin's Aviva Stadium next week on the 28th, 29th and 30th of June. Experts have traced her family line back to Susan Davis and Francis Gwynn. On Saturday, June 11th, 1836, the 21-year-old set for her 21-year-old set her for to America from Derry. Ah, okay, I get you. So it was one of her ancestors that moved to Derry back in 1836. So apparently you can trace Taylor Swift back to Derry. How's about that?
Daily newspapers are courtesy of Kelly's Centra and Diner, Mountaintop Letterkenny, winner of Best Family Dining at the Highland Radio Hospitality Awards. The 9 till noon show with Letterkenny Credit Union, now offering mortgages from €40,000 to €600,000 with no hidden fees or transaction charges. Letterkenny Credit Union, 9102127.
Enjoy summer with Home Store and more. Bring your garden to life with our great range of garden furniture, including rattan corner sets, dinner sets and much more. And when it comes to barbecues, whether gas, charcoal or smoker, we've got what you need to cook up a storm. There's also gazebos and garden decor. Light up your garden with our extensive range of solar lights, string lights, post lights, lanterns and much more. Make your garden your sanctuary. Come visit our stores and see for yourself, or shop online at homestoreandmore.ie. Home Store and More. A happy home.
Our Donegal summer is upon us, whatever it brings. At Alcorns, it brings colour and outdoor splendour to our gardens. Beautiful baskets ready to hang, bedding and sizzling summer perennials, 3 for only €20. Or plant an enduring specimen like blue cedar or Japanese maple from Alcorns, the home of great gardens.
Now at Platform 1, Heritage Week event registration.
Are you taking that? I'm on it every year.
Am I not too late?
Don't worry, it's not leaving till August 17th.
So I still have time?
Loads.
But I'm not part of a heritage group.
You don't need to be. Anyone can register.
Great. I'd better get organised though. See you then.
Heritage connects us all. Time to get on board at heritageweek.ie.
National Heritage Week is a programme of the Heritage Council, supported by the local authorities' heritage teams and the Department of Housing, Local Government and Heritage.
If you're painting outside your home or business, Watson Hire have a brilliant deal on Storm Shield exterior paint. Get 3 10-litre buckets of white for just $99.95, or 3 buckets of coloured for just $129.95. Johnson Storm Shield is rainproof in 20 minutes, ideal for the Donegal weather, and Watson's can mix thousands of colours. Call in and talk to the paint specialist for advice and see loads more paint deals at Watson Hire, Lisnenan, Letterkenny.
If you have a TV, you must have a TV licence. It's the law. Inspectors are calling to homes and businesses in your area this week. If you don't have a valid TV licence, that can mean prosecution and a fine of up to €1,000. Get yours now at tvlicence.ie or any post office. Brought to you by the Government of Ireland.
Now, if you are a farmer and you have a quad, you are expected to complete a quad safety training course. Many of you have, but still some haven't. And the IFA are holding an online information webinar on quad safety training. This with a view to encourage those that haven't completed the quad safety training course to do so. And this online course takes place next Tuesday at 8 p.m. We're joined on the programme by Joe Sweeney, Chair of the IFA in Donegal. Joe, good morning to you.
Good morning, Greg.
Thank you so much for joining us. Have we any idea what the uptake is in terms of, farmers and others completing the quad safety training course? Because there was an awful lot of publicity and press about it, and I just wonder what's happened since that tailed off a bit.
Well, since the law was introduced on the 20th of November last year, there was very little talk about it. It sort of crept up without little talk about it. Then it just became law sort of overnight. There was a bit of flurry there before Christmas getting training done. The numbers are still pretty low. There's just not enough numbers in it. But with farming, the spring came and everything died a death. Calving started, lambing started, crops, fields, silage. So probably now is the time to look at it again from now to towards the end of the year to get that training done. And that's why they're looking to do this webinar, to get the troops rounded up and get going again, because it's all sort of forgot about at the minute.
In relation to the new legislation, it's not even if you don't take the vehicle out onto the road, even if you use it on your own property, which is your workplace, you do have to conform to these workplace laws.
Yeah, well, you see, it's all to do with safety, because probably over the last recent number of years, quads have become more common. The word is common on farms, and even non-farmers have quads now, actually. But the word is common now. There's sort of one around most houses, and some lads maybe two. But it's the way the quads are being driven. Like it's not like a car, or it's not like a tractor. There's a total different way of driving, and that's what people don't grasp. They've changed now. They've put attachments onto quads. You can put on fertilizer spreaders, you can put on rollers, you can put on toppers, sprayers, and it's the balance of the weight. So what happens is when you're driving that quad, you have to move your body in the position of the quad. So for example, if you're on a slope going downhill, you move your body back to the back of it. If you're going uphill, it's to the far, it's going to the front, or sideways, you go to the opposite side. But people don't realize that, and that's where a lot of the problems are. And because of the makeup of it, they're so easily overturned and there's no protection.
Yeah.
So it's just to make people aware of that.
It's often not the fall from the quad, it's the quad going over on top of the driver that's often the issue, especially if there's a trailer or other equipment attached to it. And the wearing of helmet too, you know, a lot of people might say it's restrictive, or they can't hear properly, or they can't see around them properly, or whatever, but it is the law. You have to have a helmet, and it's supposed to be on, and it's there for another reason. It's to protect your head in case you fall off, smack your head, or indeed if the quad rolls over on top of you.
Yeah, it's the head is the problem, because you can do a lot with a broken leg or a broken arm, but if you get a head injury, it's a totally different thing. Now, I would work with a lot of the schools, certainly around Inishowen, through the IDP in Inishowen, and I would tell all the kids, we're doing an agri-schools program there, and it'd be protect the head and wear the helmets. Should it be bikes? Should it be even the small quads around the house? Whatever. It's the helmet is the one, and it's the same way with farmers. I know we can make excuses, but like safety is the one. And if you have a farm accident, it's not necessarily the farmer that has the accident, but it's someone else in the family to run that farm while he recuperates. So it is a big impact on more than just the farmer if there's an accident. So the helmet, yeah.
All right, so you're running this online course, the IFAs, I should say, with a view, I suppose, to getting as many on the webinar as is possible, and that would be the kick on for them to take the small bit of time out of their busy schedule. We know how busy it is at the moment for farmers, but to get this done. Because firstly, obviously it's for safety, but if there's an inspection and you have to go through all that stuff as well, isn't it better just to have all the boxes ticked?
Yeah, because it will happen that when you get the inspection and there's a quad there, it's like a number of years ago we had the sprayers and you had to do a safe use of pesticide course. It's the same way with the quad. If there's a quad there, there'll be a box and have you the course done, and you'll have to tick it. So it's all right, you can keep putting it off, but you're better to go and just bite the bullet and go and do the course.
Register now for this webinar next Tuesday evening at 8 p.m. ifa.ie/quad training, and this will ensure you're fully informed and ready to minimise risk on the farm. Just a word with you on the nature restoration law, if that's all right, Joe, because up until now, you know, we've had those who were in favour of it going through the document and picking out the best of what it could mean for Irish farmers. And then you've got those who are anti-EU and anti this law. They're picking through it and they're talking about us grazing bison in Donegal and all that kind of stuff. Now, I'm not saying that's not within there, don't get me wrong. But do we know yet actually what the implications of the nature restoration law are on, I suppose, Donegal and farming more generally?
Well, to be honest, Greg, no, not really. We have small amounts of it. But it's like a lot of things, they've passed this law now. The sort of the carcass is there. They have to put the meat on the bones, and that's probably where the horse trading will take place. I know that they're looking at reversing the loss of biodiversity and to restore nature. But if you look at the whole west coast of Ireland in the last number of years, you can see trees, bushes starting to grow. There's actually no one bothering with them. There's no control. They're looking at rhododendrons now. They're looking to control that because it's a bit like the Chinese knot weed. It's getting out of control, so it needs to be controlled. But for the whole West, I don't think it's going to have the biggest impact that they're talking about. Probably the East and the South, it probably will have, where farming is more intensive. Now they're talking about re-wetting some of the moss land or the peat land that was drained at a time, but they're talking about that they're going to do it on state-owned land, and that'll probably start with sort of some of the bogs and stuff where they stop cutting turf in the Midlands.
But the concern is if you start re-wetting that type of land, and again, where are we talking about? Could it be Donegal? I don't know. They say 9% of land will be impacted by this. Obviously, you re-wet a section of land. You know, you're not building a dam around that land either. The concern is the consequences it could have for the land around it. I mean, my concern with all of this is, you know, if you go back 50, 60 years, we had a specific department that dealt with our waterways, and it coordinated everything, drainage, all that type of stuff. That's all gone now. We're not really doing that, looking after our waterways and what have you, or working in a coordinated fashion. And then now we're sort of talking about re-wetting and how... I don't have any faith that we can deal with that successfully, unfortunately. I hope to be proven wrong.
Well, I'm on you with that, because I don't think it can be done either, because even taking a plot of land somewhere and they said it's voluntary, and you're a farmer and you're going to sort of leave that land to be wetted, but that's going to have an impact on the neighbours surrounding it, because his land's going to flood then if yours is blocked up or whatever. So I don't know, it's going to be very, very tricky how that's going to work. And that's where it's going to take a lot of knowledge and a lot of thinking to plan that out before they talk about re-wetting. It's just not as simple as it's easy saying the word re-wetting, but it's not.
Sounds great, doesn't it? But what's the reality? Will the IFA be consulted in that process, I wonder?
We would like to think we would, because sometimes a lot of these things are taken at a level where you have people that might just not know exactly what was on the ground. So it's good to have more people. All the farm orgs, better to have them at the table and sort of try and work out a plan, rather than someone taking in a law and then not understanding what the implications are when it's taken on.
All right, listen, thanks so much for joining us. And that's a story we'll talk about many times into the future. Thank you very much indeed. That is Joe Sweeney, who is chair of the IFA in Donegal. 086 60 25,000. A caller says, my daughter is 15. Is she too young for quad training? To do the course, she's going to have to wait another year. In terms of getting advice on quad safety, I'd sign up as a webinar and sit in beside her for next Tuesday. It's good information, but the actual course itself, candidates have to be over 16. A caller says, why don't the quads have safety bars to stop them tipping over? If they did something that could move on and off like old tractors from years ago. I know a person who got tipped off a quad, and that was over a year, and he's still not right. Another farmer I know was killed off one. Yeah, that's really why we talk about it, because they can be dangerous. 086 60 25,000 is the WhatsApp and text, or give us a call on 07491 25,000. We were in the beautiful Shandon Hotel last evening. The Irish Hotels Federation had an event where the baton, I suppose, was formally handed over from Paul Diver from the Sandhouse, isn't it, down in Rosnara, who's been a regular guest on this show, highlighting the issues facing that industry. And that baton was handed over to a very impressive young lady, and Ashleen Arnott, and I'm sure we'll be speaking to her into the future, and got chatting to some lovely people there, actually, and people are so nice and have such nice things to say. Ashleen Arnold, of course. Did I say Arnott? And have such nice things to say about the show and the radio station. I really do appreciate that, and we were treated really, really well. It was lovely. And if I sound croaky, it's probably to do with Coca-Cola or 7-Up or something along those lines. Okay, we'll be back with more on the 9 till noon show very shortly.
Watch the show live now on YouTube, Facebook and at highlandradio.com. The 9 till noon show is brought to you by Letterkenny Credit Union, with monster loans available up to €60,000 for all occasions. Visit letterkennycu.ie.
Thinking of changing your floors? Why not see what Florid Letterkenny has to offer? Florid have a large selection of solid, semi-solid and laminate click vinyl wood flooring, together with a fantastic choice of parquet, herringbone flooring, all at incredible value. Don't delay. Call Florid today on 087 161 7008.
When it comes to your business, you want to move forward, upgrade, advance, expand. Make it possible with Opel's award-winning commercial vehicle range. The new Opel Combo, Vivaro and Movano in diesel or 100% electric. And now all available with flexible payment options and a 5-year warranty. The Opel commercial vehicle range. Carriers of possibilities. Find out more about our 242 offers at Heron Auto Opel. See heronopel.ie for details.
Did you know that low mood, feeling anxious, trouble sleeping, and stress are all part of our mental health. Signs that can be harder to recognise in yourself. For personalised advice that can help, use the My Mental Health Plan tool at yourmentalhealth.ie from the HSE.
Here at Kelly Cleaning Equipment, we have everything you need to clean your home, garden and business. As an official Gold Plus cashier dealer, we offer brand-leading domestic and commercial pressure washers, vacuum cleaners, floor scrubbers, steam cleaners, carpet cleaners and much more. Come and see us at Eurohouse, Killybegs Road, Donegal Town or online at kellycleaningequipment.ie. And for a limited time only, claim up to €150 cashback when purchasing a cashier professional pressure washer. Kelly Cleaning Equipment. Choose cashier.
I've been calling them Karchers for the last 20 years. Okay. Donna McGee is an addiction services lead with the HSC and is with me in the studio. Good morning, Donna.
Good morning, Greg. How are you?
Thank you so much for joining us, and I'm feeling great, thank you. Now, the North West Regional Drug and Alcohol Task Force have launched a new campaign to prevent drug misuse in a particular area for this campaign. Tell us a little bit about that.
So I suppose what it's featured on is the booklet that they've launched is called The Smart Method. I brought a copy of it with me today. Yeah. So it's basically in relation to the issue they looked at was young people being under a lot of pressure with shows like, say, Love Island and Geordie Shore and everything to have the perfect body image. So what they looked at is developing a resource. Now, I suppose this was the task force has two subgroups, and one looks at treatment and rehab and one looks at prevention and education. So the prevention and education looked at how young people aged 16 plus who are going to the gym would be able to work out and build muscle safely without the use of, say, illegal steroids, because there is such pressure for people to have the perfect image. So they developed this resource so that people would be able to learn, firstly, how the importance of nutrition and strength training, and be able to learn how to put on muscle safely, and also learn about the long-term risks and the short-term risks of if you're in the gym and somebody says to you, try these steroids, or PEDs we call them, which is performance image enhancing drugs. And I suppose the important thing for people to know is that they're illegal. There is side effects and consequences of them. They're very rarely prescribed, and most young people who are getting them aren't getting them on prescription. They're buying them illegally. We don't know what's in them, and there can be very long-term consequences for this. So,
how broadly do you think PEDs are used?
Well, I suppose we know it's with young people at the minute. We do know that there is an issue with it. It's prevalent everywhere. Yeah. So I suppose we wouldn't know exactly how much it is, but we do know that it is an issue at the moment. So that's why we want to bring out this information. So we partnered with a local gym, and the gym that we partnered with is very interested in it's called BMS, Body, Mind and Soul, because we know exercise is a great thing for young people. So it's making sure that people do it safely. So what we did was we developed this resource. We also developed a YouTube video which depicts a number of different types of body image so that there isn't one size fits all. And in conjunction with that, we have an education and training coordinator with the task force who's available. She's developed a comprehensive training program, so she's available to go out to any group or work with any organisation who are interested in that. And because it's funded by the Drugs Task Force, that would be free of charge.
I had a glance through the booklet, and it's not sort of trying to scare anyone, or I didn't even see in my brief look through it a reference to PEDs and stuff. It's more a handy booklet as how you can maybe get the body that you want, or what have you, doing it the right way, eating correctly, exercising properly, all that type of stuff. So rather than really sort of give out, it's more of giving an alternative, more positive information.
Absolutely. And we know young people will make their own choices. It's just making sure that young people make informed choices. And we do know that there's a lot of pressure on young people at the minute. Drugs and alcohol is a big issue for society at the minute. So we're trying to create a response to that, that people can feel that we're working with them and they're not being lectured to.
And as well too, though, what we have to sort of counteract, isn't it, is people want fast results, and they're being promised that. And they want shortcuts because they're being promised that. Do you know what I mean? Or they want to be bigger than they might be doing it the traditional way, and that's what they want. So it's going to be a tough. It's going to be tough to sort of counter that, isn't it? In this sort of everything's so fast nowadays.
Yeah.
Now these performance these PEDs, as you called them, don't necessarily provide that, but they're being promised that.
And the thing is, if you buy something illegally online, Greg, or somebody gives it to you, you don't know what you're buying and you don't know the long-term consequences. Also, it's illegal, so it could be punishable if you're caught with it or caught distributing it, to a €2,000 fine or going to prison as well. So I suppose it's the long-term consequences we just want to highlight and make people aware of.
I kind of see this in the same space as the slimming injections. Do you know what I mean? People are struggling. People want them. They can't get them, and they're prepared to take the risk online. And it's a huge risk. So if you've got someone who's prepared to engage in an illegal business and supply you these products illegally, how can you trust them that they care that they won't do you more damage than even, properly prescribed drugs? You know what I mean? It's why would you have that leap of faith in these people? Of course they're going to water it down or put anything in it because they make more profit, and you are just a commodity. So you talked of short-term, long-term impacts of PED use. What are they?
So I suppose it's listed on the website and it's all in the booklet, but there's a lot of different short and long term things. So I mean, it can cause heart problems, liver problems, it can cause strokes, it can cause infertility, and there's lots of other problems. There's also a thing called roid rage that we have seen with young people and people in general who take them, where it can cause mental health issues and things as well. So it is quite serious. And if anyone is interested in it, if they go onto the Northwest website, they can get a copy, we can get training, but also to let people know that between the HSE and the Northwest Task Force, if people do need support around drug or alcohol issues, support is available. Our services are very responsive, and even if people wanted to ring and they weren't sure if they had a problem or they had a family member and they were looking for family support, we have all them services as well. And we work with everybody as an individual. So, and there's no judgment at all. So I just want people to know that we know.
Yeah, because it's the HSE, people might go, oh, well, they could do this. It's not. You're there to try and help people in a private and judgment-free
Absolutely. Now, we also fund a number of community and voluntary organisations as well. So if you look on the Northwest Regional Drug and Alcohol Task Force website, there's a number of funded organisations that we fund that you can contact and seek advice as well. So sometimes people think, I don't want to go directly to the HSE, I don't want people to know my business, or maybe I work within the HSE, or maybe I work So you can go to one of our funded organisations, but anyone can go and seek support, and it is free and confidential as well.
I'm not putting you on the spot, but are we seeing any trends or stuff, generally speaking, I suppose, in terms of what we're seeing with people accessing services?
I suppose what the issues are you talking about, Greg? So alcohol
drugs
would still remain the number one. Alcohol would remain the number one issue. And we see that can have a very detrimental effect on families as well. Cocaine use is very big as well at the moment. Cocaine use is very common. We also see...
Has that moved up sort of?
Yeah, we have seen in the last 5 or 6 years a huge surge and increase in cocaine use. So cocaine use, there's also would be a lot of use of cannabis. People think that there's not this, there's cannabis is okay in a lot of cases, but we see a lot of cannabis use. It can be very problematic. Then we'd also see issues with ecstasy, MDMA, ketamine are becoming common at the moment. And then we would have a group as well that would have issues with opiates such as heroin as well. Now, there also is there's issues at the moment, and there's an alert out at the minute about people who use benzodiazepines, that there's a lot of concern around that at the minute, particularly with festivals like Sea Sessions coming up at the weekend, because there is concerns about bad batches and what they're being mixed with.
And what are those drugs? Use the technical term. Are they would they be consumed in tablet form?
Yeah, that would be tablets. Yeah. So, and so that if anyone wants further information on that and the drug alerts, you can go onto the drugs.ie website, which is really comprehensive and has all the information. So as I say, we're not here to judge, we're here to support. And if anyone needs any information or wants to ask any questions, they can contact. We have addiction services throughout Donegal, both HSE and community and voluntary as well, that are funded by ourselves and in conjunction with the Northwest Task Force.
And the whole idea of asking people to engage is to get them back to where they want to be.
Absolutely.
And it does work, and it happens, doesn't it? People come and then engage with your services and then work through them and go on to get their lives back.
Absolutely. And we've seen that repeatedly. And I mean, I suppose it's important for people to know if there can be a lot of shame attached as well if people feel, oh, I went before and it didn't work out for me and I don't want to be wasting people's time. You're never wasting people's time. I mean, it's people's lives we're dealing with here, and we're more than happy to support people. We don't mind if we see someone coming back 10, 11 times. Sometimes it takes a while, and we know that a lot of people, there's underlying reasons why people use drugs or alcohol as well. So we aim to use a holistic approach, that we work with the person and treat everybody as an individual and put supports in place with them that they're willing to accept and that they're comfortable with as well. So it's always done in conjunction with the client. It's never that we're directing the client or telling them what to do. And I think that's the important part of it. So no, we have seen people doing really, really well. And I suppose there's a lot of secrecy and shame attached to it, and that's why we're trying to make sure that everybody knows that none of us know when any of this could come to our own families. There's nothing to be there's nothing to be embarrassed about, and our aim is to try and work with people and support them. Yeah, because I mean I'm not sure necessarily the younger people who might be taking some of these drugs might be listening to this show. They might be doing something else, but their parents or grandparents or guardians might have seen a change in behaviour. Or I've spoken to parents that they've had the model child, you know, at 18, 19-year-old, and in the space of 4 weeks, the person becomes completely unrecognisable. It's really tough for those around people with an addiction as well. Really, really tough. And a lot of times it takes a long time for it to become known, or for the family to kind of talk about it. Or so anyone can ring our services and ask for advice as well, you know. So like the HSE addiction services, normally a GP referral is the method into the HSE addiction services, but the numbers are readily available of the areas. Anyone can ring and ask a question and ask for some advice. Okay, you don't have those numbers on you because that's not. But I can. I have the number for the Northwest Task Force. So their number is 071 919 4556. Okay. Now we have a list of all our funded services and the work that they do on that, and they cover all areas of they cover Donegal, Sligo, Leitrim and some of Cavan, and their website is www.nwdrugtaskforce.ie. But also if you go on to drugs.ie, you'll find all the information for our services too. So there are supports there. That's the key thing. And just to recap, we initially were talking about a new campaign. Young people, of course, as we know, and not so young people feel pressured to have that perfect body. As Donna quite rightly said, you switch on, you know, ITV 2, 3, 4, E4, you know, as soon as you get past the sort of the main channels, everything is about people with perfect bodies and all that kind of stuff. And TikTok as well, you know, you go on there and everyone else seems to their life seems to be going fantastic. It's not always the reality, but the point being is that you can go down that route if you want, and you can get that perfect body, but please don't use PEDs, performance image enhancing drugs, because of the medium and long-term effects. They are illegal. If you're caught with them, that is a crime. But also, if you order them online, you literally have no idea what you're getting. Could be anything. Yes. You know. Yes, exactly. And it could be doing nothing to enhance anything, but could be having a detrimental impact. Okay, and I'm sure, you know, a lot of guys out there, they don't want to have big muscles and be infertile. Do you know what I mean? And that's can be a consequence of it as well. And the roid rage thing is a real thing. I think the highest profile case I can recall was a WWE wrestler. He was WWF at that time, Chris Benoit, and you know, he was a hero to everyone, but he took a lot of steroids, and there were tragic consequences
him and his family. All right, Donna, listen, thank you very much indeed.
Thank
Thanks
you,
for all that.
Greg.
Where can people get a hold of that booklet?
So if you go on to the Dublin Northwest Taskforce.ie, they can put you and get you some of the booklets sent out to you. And if any organisation wants some training in relation to that, we have an education and training coordinator who actually can give training to any groups around drug and alcohol as well.
And a YouTube video.
YouTube clip as well. So if you go on to the NW Drug Taskforce.ie or call the number I mentioned, which is 071 919 4556, we can get you the resources or get you extra training.
Okay, thanks so very much indeed.
Thanks,
It's been
Greg.
lovely having you in, Donna. That's Donna McGee, who is Addiction Services Lead with the HSE.
The 9 till noon show is brought to you by Letterkenny Credit Union, offering low-rate car loans with fast approval. Apply online at letterkennycu.ie or in office today.
With over 1,000 TFI Local Link door-to-door services nationwide, if you're on our route, we're on our way. To use the service, simply pre-book the day before you want to travel with your TFI Local Link office. To find out more about door-to-door services in your area, visit transportforireland.ie. We're Transport for Ireland. We're Transport for you.
Donegal County Council, in association with Bryson Recycling, are holding a half-price bulky goods event at Stranorlar, Lahey and Dunlow Recycling Centres from the 10th of June until the 22nd of June, during site opening times. For more information and opening times, visit donegalcoco.ie or call the council on 074 9153 900.
Every day's an exciting adventure with the National Trust. Spend summer exploring magnificent mansions, glorious gardens, tree-lined trails and riverside rambles. Hop into the wildlife heptathlon at Mount Stewart or walk the plank by the River Blackwater at the Argery. Pick up pond dipping kits at Florence Court. Take aim at archery at Castle Ward or try lazy lawn games at Rowan Garden. With lots of
"Can we come again?"
on the way home. Search National Trust NI to find out more. National Trust, for everyone, forever.
Did you know Cool Kids Sligo have the biggest range of baby equipment in the Northwest with 25 years of baby expertise? Cool Kids Sligo take deposits on your baby bundle. Visit us in-store at Cool Kids Sligo or shop online at babyaccessories.ie for free nationwide delivery. Make Cool Kids Sligo your #1 destination for all things baby.
There are now even more reasons to drive home the fully electric Volvo EX30, our smallest ever SUV. Order during our Volvo Midsummer event and your EX30 will come with €500 towards a home charger, €500 towards insurance, a 4-year service plan and a low finance rate. Visit your local Volvo retailer between the 22nd and 29th of June to avail of our limited time offer. Volvo EX30, small SUV, big deal. Terms and conditions apply.
Highland Radio weather updates brought to you by McElhinney's. With over 50 years of serving the community in Donegal, McElhinney's is proud to be part of every moment, big and small. Support local, shop McElhinney's Valley Buffet.
Right, you're very welcome back to the 9 till noon show. We're joined on the programme now by Keelan. Good morning, Keelan.
Good morning, Greg.
Nice to chat to you. Right, okay, you've obviously the sun is out and the sky is somewhat clear, but not clear enough for you. You've been looking up and you think something is afoot. What's going on?
Oh, I don't know.
I can't. Kaylin, are you on loudspeaker? I'd love to be able to hear you properly.
Sorry.
It's okay. It's no problem. Say it again. Sorry, Keelan.
It just it looks very suspicious to me. Like these trails off these aircraft are never ever disappearing. Like they hang around all day in the sky. And I remember from being young that these exhaust gases were disappeared within 10 seconds. But now they seem to stick around all day. And then I'm just wondering, is there anything behind it? Because I've seen a lot of theories online that say that the skies are being sprayed.
What would be like the thing that confuses me in relation to this is we don't actually have a ton of sort of air traffic that goes over Donegal. You know, there's a bit, but nothing like you might see in Dublin or Belfast. Of course, there are some sort of transatlantic routes that cross over us, but not that many. So would we not expect to see much less of it up here than in other parts of the country if they were spraying the sky, or if they were, they'd want to do it more consistently across the whole country?
Yeah, well, you wouldn't really How would you know that they're there when you can't see through that level of cloud?
Mm.
You know.
And what? And I know you're asking questions as much as making a statement, but what is the sort of working theory of what is being sprayed if the airlines are in on it? If you know what I mean.
I don't know so much of the airlines or the private companies, but the consensus that they're spraying the clouds, and even it's been admitted in Dubai, sure they got it drastically wrong. They're flooded.
Yeah.
They're flooded out of it in
That's
Dubai.
cloud seeding. Yeah.
Cloud seeding, well, something along those lines. I don't know. You tell me. I'm asking you.
Well, you're asking the wrong man, Keelan. But listen, it's opened a conversation. Are you seeing patterns in the sky today, or is it over the last couple of days, or is it just now that
I just see loads of lines. Like they were never there years ago. It's not as if they're dispersing quickly. The whatever's being put out is spread out, and it spreads out during the day into a massive cloud. Next thing you know, the cloud rolls on. You know, and the day's gone to the dogs.
And so, do you think that maybe it's just it's controlling the weather, or do you believe there's something a little bit more?
I do believe that they're trying to control the weather a bit. Yeah.
Okay.
And they're going to use this guise of climate change, and they end up they'll use this guise of climate change, trying to cool the planet or some bullshit.
Mm.
Sorry, excuse my language.
That's all right. We'll let you away with the one. Yeah, I mean...
Well, I'm just wondering, has any other listeners seen this? I'm sure they have, but surely somebody has to be questioning it.
You would see it, surely. I just would see them as exhaust fumes, really. I was chatting to not a meteorologist. Who is it works with? Or I think a meteorologist, and they say it's to do with high and low pressure. So if there's, I'm not sure if it's low or high pressure, but if there's a high pressure, they tend to hang around more in the sky, and if there's low pressure, they don't tend to hang around. But listen, Keelan, it's your view. Do you believe there's anything damaging to us that's in these chemical trails, or do you believe it's more climate control?
Well, I don't know. You tell me what chemicals would be good for any humans.
The only thing is with some of these theories is that, do you know, like the world the way it is at the moment, it's an absolute disaster with wars and everyone falling out, and you've got, Putin over in North Korea, and you've got the Chinese, and you've got the Americans, and that there's no, if this was happening, or even Trump for that matter, if this was happening, that no one anywhere is blowing the whistle. Do you know what I mean? Like that Putin isn't coming out and saying, the West, you can't trust them. Sure, look at, they're spraying their population with chemicals. Do you know what I mean? Like the level of complicity there has to be amongst all of the different factions right across the world to maintain this. That's the thing I can't get my head around, Keelan.
Yeah, well, it could be the level of secrecy between a private company and a massive conglomerate body, but who might have?
But as you say, there's probably more questions than answers. Well, hopefully they give it a break for at least a month. I'd like a bit of good weather. Keelan, for now, thanks very much indeed. Take care of yourself. What do you think about that? 086 60 25,000. 086 60 25,000, or give us a call on 074 91 25,000. A lot of conversation about dogs and dog ownership, and at the event last night I actually got chatting to a lovely lady who had some very interesting comments in relation to this, and lots of you messaged in. We just didn't get to them yesterday because it was so busy. I absolutely 100% agree with that lady about dogs. Not one breed is dangerous. It's the owners. They need to know how to handle them, and owners need to be properly trained as well as those dogs. Another Greg, a friend of mine, had 2 Rottweilers, both since passed away, but there were 2 big teddy bears. They were as gentle as any breed of dog out there because the owner trained them properly. Both were rescue dogs at that. I believe any dog is capable of biting if it is in the hands of the wrong person. The owner is key in the life of a dog. I can vouch for those 2 dogs, the owner, because they were trained properly. It's sad that good owners get punished for bad owners' issues. But good owners aren't getting punished. I hope we're not. I mean, the only punishment, if you could call it that, is the rules in terms of muzzling in a chain. So, but that, I think Kathleen sort of gave the impression yesterday that she's not in favour of that. But like, why do we keep these big herding dogs here as pets? I mean, is that not unfair on them that they are bred? They probably wouldn't exist if it wasn't for our pleasure. So we have dogs, and it was pointed out yesterday, their natural habitat is not here. They can't engage in their natural activity. And we just have them because they make us feel good. Is that fair? But anyway, it's up to you out there. Greg, can you say to Joe that the key measure of the scheme is restoring the homes to mortgageable conditions? That's Joe McHugh yesterday. We were talking about that. Yes, indeed. Sorry, there's a couple of them here on different issues. I'm a dog owner. Dogs should be on a lead at all times. As a dog owner, I'm ashamed when walking when I see dog poo lying on the pavement or paths. Council, give poo bags free. Good strong ones. Fine dog owners €1,000. That would put the poo up them. Okay, everyone's talking about poo today. Keelan's said a swear word. But you see, people, there's kind of, we're funny human beings, because what we've had in the past is people calling in where owners go to the bother of picking up their dog's poo and then chucking it into graveyards or leaving it on walls. Do you remember that image of the bin at one beach, and there was like 15 bags of dog poo? So someone had gone to the bother of picking the poo up but just left it lying there and didn't take it home. Crazy stuff sometimes. All right, keep your calls and comments coming in on all of the issues. Raise your own. 086 60 25,000. That is the WhatsApp and text. And you can call us too on 07491 25,000. Loads to come on the 9 till noon show after we take a break for the news and obituary notices.
The 9 till noon show with Letterkenny Credit Union. Simplify your debts with a debt consolidation loan from Letterkenny Credit Union. Call us on 074 910 2126 or apply online via our app or in office today.
Too many lives continue to be lost on our roads. There is still a cohort of motorists who drive dangerously and risk the lives of all road users. Driving at excessive speed or driving under the influence of alcohol or drugs will destroy lives. We all need to take personal responsibility and not take unnecessary risks that put our lives or the lives of others in danger. Slow down. Never drink or drug drive, and keep the race in its place. A message from the Donegal Road Safety Working Group.
New this week in Home Store and More. All camping is all half price. That's right, all tents, camping tables and chairs, sleeping bags and other camping accessories all at half price. But better hurry, because when all this half price camping is gone, it's gone. Also, all toilet seats are still all half price. But when all the half price toilet seats are gone, they're definitely gone. Drop by your local Home Store and More. Visit us online at homestoreandmore.ie. Home Store and More. A happy home.
It's your fault. You deserve it. It's all in your head. They don't mean it. They can change. Recognizing male domestic abuse can be hard. Seeking support can be harder. For confidential advice and support, free phone the National Male Advice Line on 1-800-816-588. MAL, more than just a helpline.
Hi, Paddy here at Shane Conley Cars in Donegal Town. Are you looking to upgrade your car? With Shane Conley Cars, you'll find makes and models for every budget. Great finance options, and we also accept trade-ins. Check out ShaneConleyCars.com or call in to us at Shane Conley Cars from Lonaher Road, Donegal Town.
The Buncrana Golf Club development draw is here, with over €40,000 in prizes up for grabs. The grand prize is a stunning Hyundai i30 N-Line, plus 4 other fantastic prizes worth over €10,000. Tickets are available online at driveathomedraw.ie or from any club member. Don't miss your chance to win big and support Buncrana Golf Club. Get your tickets today.
Live, on air, online and on the Highland Radio app. This is Highland Radio News.
Good morning, it's 10 o'clock. Donald Kavanagh at the news desk. The Dáil has been told the state is saving €500 million a year because of the work being done by family carers in Donegal, with a further €375 million being saved in Sligo and Leitrim. The figures were presented by Deputy Marion Harkin during a Dáil debate on a Sinn Féin motion calling for the abolition of the means test for the carers' allowance. It's a measure, she said, should be called the mean test. Deputy Harkin said many carers find themselves cutting back on essentials while being denied carers' allowance, and that must change. calling for the implementation of a participatory model under which all carers qualify. She urged the government to look at the contribution that family carers are making.
There's lots of figures about what care saved the state. The figure of 20 billion is one that we often hear. Based on those figures, carers in my own constituency in Sligo probably saved the state around 250 million every single year. In Leitrim it's 125 and in Donegal it's 500 million. Yet the cost of abolishing the means test would be 397 million for the entire country.
Cancer services here have been underfunded by €180 million since 2017. The Irish Cancer Society is launching its Budget 2025 submission today, calling on the government to properly invest in the National Cancer Strategy and also provide more support to patients. It says the scheme's budget should have increased incrementally by €110 million over the last 7 years, but was only topped up by 65. The CEO of the Society, Avril Power, says a lot's been lost because of the lack of funding.
Screening hasn't been expanded as planned, waiting times for cancer tests are consistently exceeded, and surgeries are frequently delayed. And people with cancer are paying the price in poorer outcomes and quality of life. So that's why we're calling on the government today to change that by properly funding cancer services in next year's budget. People are also struggling to cope with the financial toll of cancer.
The race is on to become the next leader of the Green Party if she chooses to run. Minister Pippa Hackett has been endorsed by Junior Minister Oisin Smith and Senator Pauline O'Reilly. Catherine Martin, the current deputy leader, has already ruled herself out. Integration Minister Roderick O'Gorman hasn't yet announced his intentions. Junior Minister Malcolm Noonan confirmed this morning he wouldn't be putting his name forward. He says it's a very tough job.
There's not much glamour attached to being a party leader. There's a lot of traipsing around the country, trying to support local groups, trying to animate members, getting involved in campaigns, and that's the background stuff. So it's not for me. And I'm just looking forward to a good election campaign.
A 27-year-old man's been charged with a number of offences following a serious assault at a house in the Garva Road area of Kilrea, County Derry on Monday. He's been charged with attempted murder, assault occasioning actual bodily harm, threats to kill and causing unnecessary suffering to an animal. He's expected before Coleraine Magistrates Court today. A woman and 2 other men who were also arrested have been released on bail pending further investigation. A Dáil demonstration will take place today calling for the end to sub-minimum wages for younger workers. Employers don't have to pay under 20s the same rates as older staff, something the Mandate Trade Union says is grossly unfair. The Low Pay Commission has also recommended the same minimum wage for all. Mandate's Greg Caffrey denies claims that a higher rate of pay would encourage young people to leave education early.
The removal of sub-minimum wage rates across the EU reports have confirmed that it's beneficial to young workers to keep them in education and help them go on to further education after their school years.
Weather forecast dry today with long spells of hazy sunshine in light westerly or variable breezes, possibly turning cloudier later in the evening. Top temperature 16 to 20 degrees Celsius, coolest near coasts. Tonight dry with clear spells to start, but it will turn cloudier with isolated patches of light rain and drizzle. Lowest overnight temperature 6 to 10 degrees Celsius in a light variable breeze. Tomorrow mostly dry and cloudy, some isolated light patches of rain and drizzle in top temperatures of 16 to 19 degrees Celsius in a light southwest breeze. And that's Highland Radio News. We're back with news headlines again at 11. Check all of the day's news on our website, highlandradio.com. But for now, from the news team, good morning.
The obituary notices for this Wednesday morning, June 19th. The death has taken place of Geraldine Neelis, Lossett, Churchill. Geraldine's remains are reposing at her late residence. Funeral from there on Friday morning for Requiem Mass in St Columkille's Church, Glendowen at 11 a.m, followed by interment in Girton Cemetery. Family time from 10 p.m. to 11 a.m. Funeral Mass can be viewed on churchservices.tv. Family flowers only, please. Donations in lieu of flowers, if desired, to the Donegal Hospice, care of any family member or Charlie McClafferty, Funeral Director. The death has taken place of John Joseph Mitchell, Glencar, Letterkenny, formerly of Shaw, Greater Manchester, England, originally from Irishtown, County Mayo. John's remains will repose at the residence of his daughter, Anne-Marie Bowes, at Aurora Churchill from 12 noon until 10 p.m. tomorrow. Funeral from there on Thursday morning for Requiem Mass in St. Columkille's Church, Glendowen at 11 a.m, followed by interment in Temple Douglas Cemetery. Funeral Mass can be viewed on the parish Facebook page. Family flowers only, please. Donations in lieu of flowers, if desired, to the Donegal Hospice, care of any family member or Charlie McClafferty Funeral Director. The death has taken place of Rosaline Sinclair, née Conroy, 39 Eden Terrace, Strabane, reposing at her son Nigel's home, 18 Lambton Court, Strabane. Funeral from there tomorrow morning at 9:20 for Requiem Mass in the Church of the Immaculate Conception, Strabane at 10 a.m. Interment afterwards in Strabane Cemetery. Family time please from 10 p.m. tonight. The Requiem Mass can be viewed live via the parish webcam. The death has taken place of Michael McDade, Dundufsford, Manor Cunningham. Michael's remains will repose at the Eternal Light Chapel of Rest, Mountain Top, Letterkenny, this evening from 6 p.m. until 8 p.m. Private cremation will take place later. Family flowers only, please. The death has taken place of Raymond Montgomery, Gortnavern, Coolboy, Letterkenny, reposing at his home. Requiem Mass tomorrow morning at 11 a.m. in St. Columba's Church, Kilmacrennan. Burial afterwards in the adjoining cemetery. Mass can be viewed on churchservices.tv. Family time from 10 p.m. tonight. Family flowers only. Donations if desired to Pieta House, care of any family member or Patrick Sweeney Funeral Directors. The death has taken place of Kathleen Katie Stewart, Cottine, Derrybeg. Funeral Mass this morning at 11 a.m. in St. Mary's Church, Derrybeg. Interment afterwards in Maharagallan Cemetery. House private please before the funeral. The funeral mass can be viewed live on Ciara Morty Funeral Director's Facebook page. For family information and more details regarding wakes and funerals, please go to highlandradio.com.
The National Inpatient Experience Survey is underway. If you spent 24 hours or more in a public hospital during May this year, you may have received an invitation in the post asking you to take part in the survey. Sharing your experience will help us to improve hospital care for everyone. For more information, visit yourexperience.ie. Thank you from the HSE, HICWA and the Department of Health.
Okay, well, Keelan certainly opened a conversation on chemtrails, or so-called chemtrails. Lots of texts coming in on that. And I was thinking just during the news there that obviously Met Éireann would have to be in on it as well if it was about controlling the weather, because they predict the weather, 3, 4, 5, 6 days in advance with reasonable accuracy, in fairness to them now. It's improved much greatly. And also the amateur weather forecasters, the likes of Carlo Weather and the Donegal Weather Channel, they'd also have to be in cahoots because they predict the weather. And Keelan was of the view that that the aeroplanes are controlling the weather as part of the climate change thing. So there's an awful lot of moving parts here. It's not. It's certainly not an issue, a theory I'd subscribe to, if the truth be told. It's very strange with the chemtrails. I noticed the same thing above my house for the past month or so. They look like really fake, thick clouds. Even my kids noticed. One day we had torrential rain. I've never seen so many before. The caller on the radio really brought it home. These chemicals contain aluminium fluoride, etc., which settles on the ground and enter our food chain. Such chemicals calcify our pineal gland and dumb us all down. Time to waken up, folks. But obviously it's not working as much on this person because they're telling the rest of us that we need to wake up. I 100% agree with that gentleman about the trails in the sky. I see it all the time. Now, aeroplanes will always leave a trail behind them. It's just what it is. Greg, 300 planes pass over the county of Donegal, thinking the same thing this morning when I look up at the sky with 3 cloud trails above. Hi, I've noticed the exact same thing with trails in the sky where I live. It eventually turned into a very fake-looking, really white cloud. One day, there was a really heavy downpour of rain, so heavy that I had to stay in the car outside my house. There is definitely trails that were never there before. The man talking about planes in the sky should get his information in a better place than conspiracy theory websites. I think it's actually really quite insightful to sort of have this conversation because, you get to know what people are thinking. Prince said years and years ago that he would notice in the summertime when the skies were sprayed with chemicals, people's mood would worsen. Also, apparently these trails are full of heavy metals that can affect our bodies in many negative ways. Just in relation to that, if you're worried about aluminium, stop using antiperspirant because it's full of aluminium. And I'll tell you, if you use that antiperspirant that offers, 72 hours, 3 days of protection, you can imagine what kind of chemicals are in that if you're actually really worried about aluminium. Greg, this guy Keelan is correct. I told you yonks ago, Mary. Well, Mary, don't all of a sudden agree with you just because Keelan agrees with you, but I really do appreciate your contact. This spraying has been confirmed in numerous court cases and Congress committee meetings in the USA. They are spraying all sorts of chemicals. Most interestingly, Tennessee banned it, and now they have blue skies. Well, I followed the case in Tennessee, and some of the elected reps over there, what they were stating, and didn't actually provide a great deal of proof, but I'm not going to argue with about it. But as I say, all the forecasters, if it is about controlling weather, all the forecasters and Met Éireann and, as I say, Donegal Weather Channel, Alan down in Carlow Weather, they'd all have to be sort of in cahoots with it as well because they're predicting what's happening 2 or 3 days ahead. No dog should be licensed until you can show that the dog is microchipped. I'm not sure how that's going to stop someone being bitten, but maybe that's just a more broader issue. Once again, dangerous dog owners can't get it into their heads. A dangerous dog is what it is. Why do these people need dangerous dogs? The texter asks, and on it goes. Thank you so much for all of your communications. Keep them coming in to us. We read them all. 086 60 25,000. That's the WhatsApp and text number. Or give us a call on 074 91 25,000. Walking on the Five Finger Beach in Malin is a nightmare with the amount of dogs running around off their leads. And all their owners say it won't harm you. Yeah, indeed. He's a gentle giant. It's a disgrace how these dog laws aren't enforced. Grandchild with autism terrified of dogs because unleashed dog jumped on him, and it's a nightmare taking him to the beach with people having dogs on their leads. Dog owners, please take notice, they ask.
The county's #1 talk show, The 9 till Noon Show on Highland Radio.
It's time for Vision Ireland Bingo on Highland Radio.
It's Wednesday, the 19th of June. You're playing on the blue sheet. The reference number is S3. It's game number 25. The numbers are 43, 57, 81, 23, 54, 82, 7, 48, 89, and finally 90. Phone your claim to 9104833 before 8 tonight, leaving your name, contact number and the name of the shop where you purchased your book, and we'll call you back the next working day. Get all your Vision Ireland bingo information at highlandradio.com.
Creeveen Community Childcare are recruiting a childcare assistant with minimum FETAC level 5 for 35 hours per week with occasional additional hours. For further information, please forward your CV to fiona.mcbride@creeveentermon.ie.
All you need to make your house a home at Patterson's The Halliford. From garden furniture to kitchens, sofas and dining sets, all under one roof. Need a new mattress? Why not visit our sleep centre on the first floor? With a large range of quality beds and mattresses in stock and ready for collection or delivery. Relax in our coffee shop serving hot lunches daily. Open Monday to Saturday, 9 a.m. to 5:30 p.m. Patterson's Kitchens and Interiors, The Halliford.
Itchy eyes, running nose, wheezy, and mean hay fever is back on the attack. As pharmacists, Brennan's have a wide range of allergy remedies to come to your rescue. And we can advise you on how to lessen those hay fever attacks. So come in for a chat and we can talk through your options. In private if you like. You'll be back to enjoying summer in no time. For expert hay fever advice you can trust without the wait, we're always here for you. Just ask at your local Brennan's pharmacy.
The 9 till Noon Show is brought to you by Letterkenny Credit Union. Digital loans now available. Apply online or via our app today and get your loan transferred directly to your current account.
You're very welcome back to the programme, and we have in studio with us Kieran Kelly. Good morning, Kieran.
Good morning, Greg. How are you?
And congratulations on your book, One for the Road.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
What an undertaking.
Yeah.
200 years of pubs and hotels, the pubs and hotels of Letterkenny. Why this subject matter?
It started in kind of lockdown period. It was kind of, we all had things, we had time in our hands and we had kind of things to do, and I was doing different things. And one of the things I did was I just did a bit of research on the pubs for my father. I thought he'd find it interesting, and I just put it together in that. And it was a very short little 50-page thing, and he was grand. And basically, I put it aside, and then last year, then I went back to it and decided to expand on it, and it's become a 376-page book now. And the fact that it's 2024 now makes it 200 years. The earliest records I could find was 1824. Of course, there would have been pubs and places before that and hotels before that, but there's no record of them. So the very first record I could find is Piggott's Directory of 1824, and that makes it a nice round number, 200 years up to 2024. So.
Is this self-published?
Yes.
I mean, it's a remarkable achievement. It's of such high quality.
Thank you so much. Thank you. I have a lot of thanks to Stevie Toy of Logopix for doing the design, and Brown Printers locally as well for printing it. I believe in keeping it local, and it's brilliant. I'm very happy with the quality of it.
Obviously, it's text-rich, but it's picture-rich as well. How hard was it to draw all that together?
It was very important to me to have photos because... if it's just facts and figures, it can be a bit hard to read, hard slog. And people judge by flicking through, and they'll see it's filled with. There's almost 1,000 photographs in there.
Really is remarkable.
And I basically went cap in hand to people, asking them, "Have you got any photos? Have you got any photos of this pub, of that pub?" A lot of families are still around who had owned pubs before, and they were so generous to share them with me, because it does bring it to life, and it captures what the pub is. And this is what I actually stress it in the very first couple of paragraphs. This book is not a celebration of alcohol in any way. It's a celebration of the pub, of what it is, what brings people together. And our life revolves around them. Communions, weddings, funerals, our life, we go to the pub. It's where we meet our friends, we meet our partners there perhaps. I met my wife, Olivia, in McGinley's bar in Letterkenny. So many people where your grandparents met and everything. So that's what I wanted to celebrate, and that's what I wanted to capture with the photographs too, to show that people enjoying themselves in these places, being amongst friends. People maybe sadly no longer with us as well. So it's great now to preserve them in this book, and they'll always be there. The many characters of the town. I worked in a few pubs over the years locally myself, and I recognise all the characters that I remember from years ago, and it's great now to have them in this book preserved forever.
Yeah, and I mean, it's a story of the evolution of the pub as well, isn't it? I mean, obviously you talk of 200 years of pubs and hotels of Letterkenny, but is there something that you sort of noticed in bringing it together over those 200 years?
Yeah, it was very interesting. I mean, there's by and large, there's actually, funny enough, there was 15 pubs and one hotel on the main street in Letterkenny in 1824, and there's pretty much the same now. And that's because of the decentralisation of the town, that the pubs that have spread out to Ballyrain and to further afield. So it's come full circle.
But the core number is kind of still there 200 years on.
It is, exactly. The core number's still there. And there's actually some of the licences that were existed back then are still in the town. They would have been transferred from pub to pub to pub to pub. And actually, there's a hotel in there. The very first hotel that I could find was Laird's Hotel at the Market Square. And that license is still in Letterkenny, in a hotel. And I won't say which because you have to buy the book. But it's I found that interesting. One of the things I found very interesting too was how the publican was seen as the esteem he was held in locally, and she for that matter, because it was seen, for example, in the 19th century, the town commissioners were made up who ruling the council of the town, so to speak. Many of them were publicans. The very first town council in 1898 that was elected to Letterkenny, 6 out of the 9 councillors were publicans.
Wow.
And the chairman was a publican. The very first woman elected to Letterkenny Town Council, Kate McCarry, in 1925, was a hotelier. So the esteem that they were held in locally as you know, high society almost in a way, I was found that very, very interesting to see that.
So what do these pubs look like 200 years ago?
Well, a lot of them would have been small little kind of not shacks is a wrong word to use, but thatch roof and so on, you know. But some of the pubs are still actually, I mean, for example, Blake's Bar pretty much looks the same from the outside. Yeah. Obviously, it's been done up inside, course, yeah. But from the outside, it's still the same, and you can see the photographs in that bar is still the same. Other pubs then, they would have been small, most little kind of. It's not the pub that we think of today.
That's what I'm kind of getting at, yeah.
Not quite exactly. It would have been kind of, but it still was a social place to go to. It was still like you wouldn't have had kegs. You would have barrels, for example, and so on. And it would have been that. And actually, I found it very interesting in meeting people. They still have little artifacts from the old pubs. I have a few of them myself, jugs and bottles, and it's great to have them still as well. They're great to have.
Yeah, and Would they mostly dominate? Would it be mostly men socialising in pubs a couple of hundred years ago?
Yes, socialising, yes, but surprisingly, a lot of women own pubs as well.
Yeah.
Perhaps because they might have been widows and inherited the licence, for example. But typically, you would have had a place called the Snug for women, and that's all over Ireland, where a small little room, a little ante room. One of them was, for example, in Willie Dillon's bar just near the Market Square. You basically went in and the ladies had their drinks in there and the men had their drinks over there. But of course that's all changed. But it's interesting too just to see, and I go through it, the evolution of the pub locally is that nationally is reflected locally. The things that were happening all around the country were happening in Letterkenny as well. And it's interesting. It's very interesting to see the evolution of the pub. And one of the things I mentioned is that the earliest directive of 1824 and again 1846 lists the occupations of the town. People who were saddlers and harness makers, publican. Well, we don't have saddlers and harness makers anymore, but we still have the publican. It's endured over the highs and lows we've gone through over 200 years. The pub is still endured, it's still there, and in 200 years' time again, it'll still be there. Maybe not the same way we look at it now, maybe not the same way, but it'll still be a publican. And who knows whether mobile phone shops or vape shops will still be around. They will look at those old records and see, wow,
Yeah. But I mean, there's still traditional pubs. You see that we kind of went through a stage and that those pubs are still there, of course, whereby everything is TVs absolutely everywhere. And what have you. And then you see some pub chains that try and be a little bit more traditional. Obviously, the TV has to be there, what have you. But you know what I mean? You can see that we still hark back to a time as well.
Definitely. I mean, there's a market for the sports bar. I mean, that's, again, from a local point of view, we can see that starting around 1988 for the Euros, Ireland's first tournament. And then again, Italia 90, Donegal in 92, where if you couldn't go to the games, you couldn't go to America in 94 to see the World Cup, you could go to the pub to watch it. And so the evolution of the sports bar really took place then. But there was a survey undertaken a couple of years ago, and Lonely Planet, I think it was, and the vast majority of tourists want the traditional Irish pub. They want the singing music. They want the turf fire. They want that. So a lot of pubs now have gone back to that aspect. So a kind of a marriage between the two of having the screens, but also having the traditional feel. And it's great to go into a pub now and hear the live music being played, traditional music being played. It's not just for tourists, it's for us as well.
Of course.
It's great. It's fantastic.
Yeah, and talking about evolution of how we engage in the pub. I'm not sure if there was any pubs in Letterkenny at the time. Do you remember Sky had this notion of 3D?
Yeah.
And there was definitely at least one pub in Donegal whereby they thought we'd all be standing in pubs with 3D glasses on.
I think we'll try anything, but I don't think we'll go that far.
There was I can't remember which pub it was, and you could go, and the TV had to be 3D, of course, and they had to have the 3D coverage, and everyone was going to be sitting around watching 3D. That's only about, I think that's less than 20 years ago.
Yeah, I mean, there was a fad for 3D when that came out with the 3D screens.
By the way, just when we were talking about pubs and you talked about the evolution of pubs, I'm thinking that one didn't work.
No, exactly. And there will always be they'll give things a go, but who knows, in, as I said, 100 years' time, maybe there'll be holograms of football matches in the pub where we're watching the game, who knows. But
can you imagine that? Yeah. Or at least holograms of bands or something, who's to say?
True.
So this book's going to have broad appeal. As you say, it's not about boozing. It's about, the social hub.
Exactly.
Do you know what I mean? A lot of lads, that was their counselling session as well. And for women as well. Do you know what I mean? You might not necessarily talk directly about your problems, but you talked around them and through them. It depends on the individual, don't get me wrong. It was the only contact you probably had with your peers. Do you know what I mean? Like,
very true. It was a place to talk to your friends, especially the kind of the older generations who didn't talk about their thing, but they would kind of subtly mention it to their friends at the bar counter. Deals were done over things, like, you know what I mean? Like, for example, I remember my father, we were getting work done in the house, and we didn't go looking for phoning people up as you would now to try and get the work done. It was done by chatting to a man in the pub, and that's how deals were done.
Still, to some extent, the best deals.
Exactly,
that way,
So
over a pint rather than over a table in an office somewhere.
Yeah.
So obviously, you come right up to contemporary times.
2024. Yeah.
Right. So you've got it's a good little archive for people who are younger now. But people who maybe did the principal socialising 30 years ago, 40 years ago, 50, you know what I mean? There's a lot of interest there because it'll trigger a lot of memories. That's what you're expecting, as well as it being a very important archive.
That's what I want to do. And actually, some people who have got advanced copies were saying that they haven't even started reading the book yet. They're just loving looking at the photographs and the memories coming back of oh, that place, or that person, or whatever. And it's great. I love to hear that. It's because that's what I wanted to be. I wanted to be a preservation of these places. This book now is going to be preserved. It's been sent off to the British Library, the National Library in Ireland, all these places for preservation. You have with every book published, you have to do that. So these places will always be remembered now.
And what has always been very important to me is whoever is behind the jamp, whoever's behind the bar.
Yes.
You know, you talked about personalities, but you know, I've seen individuals drive trade and retain trade to a pub. The person behind the bar is so important.
Definitely, 100%. It's again, it was a social outlet for people, especially if you went in years ago in the pub and there was nobody else there. The barman would talk. I mean, there was a famous thing about 20 years ago where Raymond Blake and Blake's Bar said there was no mobile phones when they were first coming out. No mobile phone conversations at the bar counter to talk to the barman. It's very, very important. It's quite rude not to do that. And so it's important to the role of the barman was that he was a counsellor. He was everything. He was a friendly face. He was everything. Not every barman had a friendly face. I've met a few over the years who didn't have the friendly faces, but myself included, maybe. But it was an important role in society, and as I said, that's what it was reflected in. For example, being elected to the town council and so on.
Yeah. So as much as you can trace it back, and there might be breaks or slight moves or whatever, the oldest bar in Letterkenny is Blake's.
The oldest bar that I can discover through the records and it's still in the same family.
Yeah,
and it's the earliest record I can find for that is 1839. It was
remarkable.
It was a document that I found just last year, and it's the valuation of Letterkenny in 1839, and it lists all in order of where they were in the main street, the people who lived where, and it mentions publican, whoever was a publican, and John Doherty, publican, was listed there in 1839 on that spot, and it's his great maybe another great grandson, Kevin Blake, is now running that bar. It's passed all the way down, so it's great that that's still there. That I would class as the oldest pub in Letterkenny, still in the same family.
Yeah, it's a remarkable history to be able to trace that back. So the book has been officially launched tonight.
Tonight, in
whereabouts?
The Regional Cultural Centre at 7 p.m. and we're having live music provided by Barney and Hugo. And some people might remember Barney and Hugo were the first winners of the very first singing pub competition in 1969. Wow. The first Letterkenny Folk Festival in 1969.
Do they still play together? Have they come together especially
They've come together especially for this.
Wow.
And I've asked them, and as they're the guests of honour who will launch the book. And I'm delighted. I'm absolutely thrilled that they will be there. It's 55 years since they won the singing pub competition. They won it on behalf of Sean Harvey's Singing Lounge, which was near the Market Square. So I'm delighted they're going to be there tonight. I want to create almost a pub atmosphere in the RCC, at the Regional Cultural Centre, where there's a few surprises in store. I don't want to say what, but hopefully it'll be a lovely place for people to come and remember, and the photographs will be displayed on the screen and everything, so to chat and remember and socialise.
And it's one of those books. Look, we're trying to talk about it, but I think people need to get it into their hands.
Yes.
and have a look through it. It's that type of and it's available. When will it be available if it's not already, and where will it be available?
It's available if anybody wants to order it online. It's available at letterkennyhistory.com. You can buy it online already there, but it'll be in the shops from tomorrow, because if I have it in today, people won't go to the lunch tonight. So
you're worried. Can I just say one thing? I'm reading between the lines here. Kieran wants as many of you as possible at this launch tonight. Okay, it's going to be a very special evening. It's going to be setting a certain atmosphere in the RCC. You've got fantastic music and a lovely connection there as well to exactly what we're talking about. So it's going to be a very special experience, and it's open to everyone at the Regional Cultural Centre tonight from 7 p.m.
Yes.
And go along and support Kieran, because this is a fantastic piece of work, and also to there's a real purpose to it in archiving this, because it's not, stuff gets lost very quickly, skips a generation or something along those lines. But now this 200 years of the history of the pub and hotel in Letterkenny is locked in.
Yes, as far as I'm concerned. That I've done. I mean, somebody might point out, oh, you forgot this here, you forgot that. As going by the records that I could possibly find, that's it now preserved.
But that is triggering conversation.
It is,
it's
of
not
course.
Picking a floor. It's
no,
just
exactly.
saying,
And I welcome that. I'm looking forward to people going, you left this out, you left that out. You know what I mean? But or my grandfather told me that didn't happen there. It happened in this other pub, and that's brilliant, because that's again what it's about. It's socialising, it's having the conversation, and it's talking about it.
And we didn't mention too, and I've just noticed here as I'm flicking through old ads.
Yeah,
which
that's very important too. Very important. There's maps as well. I've kind of traced where they were located.
Hegarty's Hotel, Letterkenny.
Yes,
for comfort, cleanliness, and moderate charges. Dinners, luncheons, and teas. Wedding parties catered for. Fully licensed. All spirits of best brands stocked. Proprietor Michael McNeilis.
Yes.
presume it's McNeilis. It's M. Neelis.
Yes. Yeah.
Okay, interesting.
But again, the ads are another aspect of bringing it to life.
But that really
too.
opens the window to the past.
It does.
Doesn't
It really does. Yeah. And it's like there was a lot of work went into going up to Dublin, to go to the National Archives, going to the National Photographic Archives, going to just all over looking for the information and going to the old newspaper archives as well.
When in Letterkenny, meet your friends at the Rainbow Bar. Spacious lounges, TV and piano.
Brendan,
and I'm not going to read any more because people are going to have to get the book and go tonight to read it.
Brendan Behan had a drink in Letterkenny in the Rainbow Bar when he was here in the 1960s. And so it's great to have that as well. That was located basically opposite the top of Rosemount on the main street.
Anyway, listen, people can get along, have a chat to you tonight.
Thanks so much.
There'll be books available tonight, tell me.
Yes, of course. Yeah.
You might even scribble your name in them for people. I think, and we'll move on now in a second, but often it's hard to know what to buy someone, right? And Father's Day is just past and maybe you missed a trick there. But if you forgot Father's Day, I think there's a lot of dads or granddads for that matter, in and around Letterkenny, that will be very nice and nostalgic for them, or even get it now and put it away for Christmas or something along those lines while it's fresh in your head. Primarily, though, get along to the launch of Kieran Kelly's book, One for the Road. It's tonight at 7 p.m. in the Regional Cultural Centre. You're going to try and create sort of an atmosphere there. There are surprises on the night. And just remind people of the music again.
Barney McDade and Hugo Daly.
Who are coming together 55 years after
winning the very first singing pub competition.
I mean, if that in and itself is, that's terribly special. All right, brilliant stuff. Kieran, best of luck with it. It's clear how much effort went into it. And I presume you can blame your dad for it, really, because it all sort of started with him in lockdown. I mean, thank your dad for it. Thank your dad. All right, well done. Back with more shortly.
Watch the show live now on YouTube, Facebook, and at highlandradio.com. The 9 till noon show with Letterkenny Credit Union, now offering mortgages from €40,000 to €600,000 with no hidden fees or transaction charges. Letterkenny Credit Union, 9102127.
The neighbours have done it. Your friends have done it. Even your mum's done it. Now you can do it too. Save €10,000 on a new Nissan Leaf. There's never been a better time to switch to electric. Nissan Leaf with €10,000 off for a limited time only. Visit nissan.ie or contact your local Nissan dealer right now for details. Nissan. Innovation that excites. Savings inclusive of €3,500 SEAI EV grant. Terms and conditions apply.
For over 125 years, Donegal Creamery's milk has been brought to you daily from our dairy at Crossroads, Killygordon, the longest established creamery in the region. By choosing Donegal Creamery's milk, you're supporting local jobs, local families, and over 200 dairy farming families across Donegal in doing what they do best. Producing delicious fresh milk daily. Donegal Creamery's milk. Donegal's milk since 1899.
From outdoor lighting to interior floor and ceiling lights and lamps, Foy & Company's lighting department at Ballybuffet and Letterkenny have everything you need for your home or garden. If you're unsure about the type of lighting that might work for your space, reach out to one of our team members who'll be more than happy to help. We work with commercial and residential clients. Lighting is an important part of a room's design, so it's worth getting right. See the difference at Foy & Company of Ballybuffet and Letterkenny.
Bí me sé cant faoin léamh agus an scríomh. Tá an saoladh athrú go mór, agus bíonn sé díon chuid agan formacha a lína, bilí a thuiscint nó an fón cliste a oibrú. Tá sé níos coitianta nó mar is dóile. Fáil amach conas gur féidir leatsa do chuid a dhéanamh ag adultliteracyforlife.ie. Le tacaíocht ó rialtas na hÉirden agus solas.
Jimmer Atarship, Colin Ferreter and Shaw, Biggie Lynn, Ihe Kedenya, Shaw Lahai, Kayiru, Jeru, the Skull Bliana, Le Skull, Column Killa, Kill Vikranan, Biower and Air, Sharkaji Ort Rulia Bulia, Biggie Lynn.
All right, it's a great show, that Columns, and he's a great character as well. Tune into that if you can. Right, let's go to Malin and say a big congratulations to Shane Byrne, Chair of Malin Tidy Towns. Hiya, Shane.
How are you, Greg?
I'm doing good. How are you? Congratulations, because Malin has been declared the best kept village on the island of Ireland. What a wonderful credit to all involved in keeping it as beautiful as it is.
Thanks a million, Craig. Yeah, we were shortlisted. We got notification there last week that we were shortlisted with Ballynewer in County Antrim and Mulranny in County Mayo for the Best Kept Village Award, and we're pleasantly surprised yesterday when we went to Belfast to receive the award that we got first.
Yep, and let's just reiterate, this is an all-Ireland competition. To be shortlisted is a remarkable achievement in and of itself, but to come out on top is something else altogether and should be celebrated across the county. What were the judging criteria? It's not just how nice or pretty it's kept, is it? There's more to it than that as well, Shane.
There is, Greg. There's a lot of things involved in it. You know, the name of the award is the Best Kept Village, but there's a lot of other aspects to it as well. You know, eco-friendliness, biodiversity. You know, we have a new wildflower garden there that I'm sure that added to a points tally at the end. And the Malin won the Tidy Towns competition twice before, 1970 and 1991. But that particular competition is confined to the Republic of Ireland, where this competition is a 32-county cross-border initiative. And, you know, we were delighted because, I mean, it's to win it in the Republic of Ireland is one thing, but to win the All-Ireland version of it is really pleasing, you know.
And this is not like the town was, you know, a few things were done to sort of try and enter this competition. This is, you know, an ongoing work and pride in the area, isn't it?
It is, surely, Greg. This is ongoing for years. Like the first year Malin won the Tidy Towns was 1970. And this is ongoing from year to year. The amount of people that have been involved in this over the years is just not the present committee and excuse me, it's people that have been involved for the last 50 years in the Malin Development Association, and the pride that, you know, that the local people have in their own properties, as well as there's a lot of people to be thanked in this. You know, the people within the town that look after their own properties. There's CEP workers in Malin under the guidance of Danny McGonigal who do tremendous work. And there's people like in the town, Hughie McColgan, who over the years been in the committee for a long, long time, but the work that Hughie does and Malin Development, second to none. And we have Ukrainian people that are living in the town, that they have a group and they go out and they clean the roads and paint fences, and you know, it's a combined effort.
Yeah, because there's a very traditional feel to Malin Village, one that you don't see in an awful lot of places. Is that? Do you recognise that description of it?
Definitely, Greg. It's a community spirit and pride that people have in their own communities. You know, and it's very evident in Malin that there's everybody pulls together within that community, and it's lovely to see when we get an award like this, you know.
I'm delighted for you. I really am. And you know what? It's a really good advertisement for the area as well, for people coming in and visiting as well. So I'm delighted for all of you and all involved for the Tidy Towns Committee. But as you say, it takes the whole community to buy into this, doesn't it? And they have, and it's looking wonderful, and that's now been recognised.
It is, Greg. It's just not about. It's not really just about the Malin Development Association. It's about all the community groups within the area that pull together, and the sense of goodwill and community spirit is very evident in Malin.
All right, brilliant stuff. Well done to all. Thanks so much for. Did you go up to Belfast yesterday? Was it?
Yeah, we were up yesterday. Myself and Jacqueline were up yesterday, and we collected the award. We had no idea going up that we knew we were shortlisted, but we had no idea that we were going to win the overall thing, Greg. So it was very pleasing, you know.
Great stuff, Shane. Thanks so much for your time. I really appreciate it.
Thanks very much, Greg.
Take care, and congratulations again to Shane, the Tidy Towns Committee, and the wider community there as well. 086 60 25,000. A caller says, I, as an elderly person, can't walk the streets of Letterkenny with e-scooters. Are there no Gardaí in this town? Well, the e-scooter laws came in. You can't ride a bike on a footpath. You shouldn't be riding your e-scooter on the footpath. I notice since the new law came in, I haven't seen one e-scooter on the road, they're still flying up and down the footpaths. That's on the approaches to Letterkenny town itself. I don't know what's going on. It'd be great to see some sort of an enforcement. People now can legally ride them, which is, that's what people wanted. But get off the footpaths. Cycle lanes are fine, but get off the footpaths where people are walking and use the road, because that is what the law dictates. And people are entitled to feel safe walking around their local streets. There was something there a few months ago when the flooding was in India. They sent up planes to burst the clouds before they come over India. I thought it was a weird thing. So you never know that what we don't know about. But we do know about there's an element of climate control, cloud seeding, and cloud dissipation and stuff like that there. That's one thing. But this, what we've been talking about, or what others have been talking about, is something very different. A caller believes they've got a sore throat and swollen glands as a result of chemtrails. There's one park in the Twin Towns and there's no parking toilets or anywhere to wash your hands. You have to abandon your car as there's nowhere to park. Well, tell us where it is. We can see if we can get onto that. Hi, Greg. If you compare our skies today to what they were many years ago, there is a massive difference. Laws are being passed in other parts of the world to stop these chemical injections into the air. Various social media accounts are highlighting the excessive spraying in our skies through different parts of Ireland today. The state of our skies, they say, is not normal. Another, if people Google Train Force and Air Finder and see what the American airplanes are doing off the west coast of Ireland, they would be shocked. You can literally Google anything, though, and you'll find something on it. Chemtrails, we need an expert from the Aviation Authority or a meteorologist on the 9 till noon show to discuss what chemtrails are. We're trying to track down a meteorologist to discuss that. But I just think some people get so locked into a point of view nowadays that even if we have someone who claims to be able to disprove it, that people won't change their minds. It's just the way things are now. But it might make for an interesting conversation.
The 9 till noon show is brought to you by Letterkenny Credit Union, with monster loans available up to €60,000 for all occasions. Visit letterkennycu.ie.
Make more meals for less with Dunnes Stores, where you'll save in the aisle with ingredients for a vibrant burrito bowl. That's chicken thighs, 915 gram pack, just $2.99. Cooked with taco seasoning and fresh vegetables, like red onions and 69-cent loose avocados. Served with fluffy rice. All from the Dunnes Stores range. Plus, you can save again at the till with a 5 off 25 grocery voucher. Dunnes Stores. Always better value. Terms and conditions apply. Voucher can be used on next in-store grocery shop of €25 or more.
Boost your brain function with Remind supplements. Visit Healthwise Pharmacies for the innovative Life Meter test. In just 1 minute, measure your carotenoid levels from a simple fingertip scan. Understanding your diet can help you take charge of your brain health. Remind's blend of carotenoids and omega-3 fatty acids supports normal brain function. Make an appointment today at Ballyreen and Dunlow Healthwise Pharmacies. Take the first step towards a healthier brain with Remind.
For all your training needs, Northwest Forest Services Training Department Ballybuffet offer a wide range of training courses from training bodies such as NPTC City and Guilds, QQI Lantra and ABA International. They also now do quad courses in line with the new guidelines and regulations for all quad users. If you have a group, they can come to you. For a full list of training courses and availability, contact Northwest Forest Service Ballybuffet on 074 913233.
Summer has arrived. It's time to book the ultimate rural escape at McGrory's Hotel Culdaff, celebrating 100 years of warm Irish welcomes. Relax in the beautiful Donegal countryside, stay in one of our 17 cosy bedrooms, enjoy a fabulous meal in our front room, and take a walk on the stunning Blue Flag Beach. Book your break now at mcgrorys.ie, quoting Highland Radio.
Highland Radio weather updates with McElhenny's. Support local at McElhenny's. With 53 years experience in fashion, beauty and home, we're here for you. Plus, enjoy M-Card rewards when you shop in-store at McElhenny's Ballybuffet.
So today will be a dry day with long spells of hazy sunshine in light westerly or variable breezes, possibly turning cloudier later on in the evening. Highest temperatures today, 16 to, wait for it, 20 degrees, coolest near the coast. Betty Holmes is spokesperson for Donegal Action for Cancer Care. Betty, how are you keeping? Lovely to chat to you again.
The same as that, Greg. Battling on, you know yourself, for fighting corners and keeping politicians and all these people busy.
Hopefully the outbox and the email's as busy as it ever was, Betty.
Oh, well, I mean, the outbox is very busy.
The inbox not so much.
I'm not sure I'm still on their Christmas card list, you know.
Well, you're on our Christmas card list, and that's all that matters.
Yes, thank you.
We were reading a little earlier on, and we've talked about this before, about cancer patients being hit with excess parking fees. Amongst them, Galway, where you have to pay full whack, according to this report, if you are down there. And I think that's really the hospital that might affect more Donegal people, Betty. But of course, lots of people also travel from Donegal to Dublin for treatment. What do you hear from people, or what's your experience?
Well, the experience is that Donegal patients, who are generally the majority, go to Galway. Some do have to go to Dublin, but they find that the cost attending Galway is really crippling them. Because if you think about it, Greg, you're heading off from Donegal. You have your car, you have your fuel. You have to ensure that everything at home's okay. The cost could be of getting somebody in to look after your children or whatever. You go home, you possibly have to get a B&B down there. So there's a really major financial cost for cancer patients travelling to Galway Hospital, and other patients have to travel to Galway. And you go down to Galway and then you're hit with this parking charge. So you're not going to be there for an hour, Greg. You're going to be there for a considerable part of the day. And it is a major, major cost impacting on cancer patients. And the reality is, we go back again to, where is this money going? Because generally the parking services are being delivered by private companies. So why is our health system punishing patients for attending their hospital necessary appointments?
Yeah, and also too, it's the profit making on people's backs, Betty, which I'm not terribly comfortable with. University Hospital Galway, for an example, over 4 years, €3.5 million in car parking charges. In 2023 alone, they took over €1 million in parking charges at a hospital. That just doesn't sit right.
Yes, and we're developing best. We're supposed to be developing best cancer service and other health services for the sick people of Ireland. And our government and health services are punishing the sick, punishing their families. And private companies are ripping in the profits and smiling all the way to the bank at the cost of the people whose health at that minute in time and their extended family is in a critical situation. And the financial cost is having a major impact. And a lot of people actually, when they are faced with their cancer diagnosis or other serious health situations, Greg, they're sitting thinking, how much is this going to cost me?
Yeah.
You know, should I go, should I not? And it shouldn't be. And one of the things that annoys me, even when I read this morning, Greg, was it's only 2 days ago since the Minister for Health was publishing the National Cancer Strategy Implementation Report, and it said about how great and wonderful everything was. All these fancy documents, because not that long ago I was reading the Model 3 hospital report, the acute hospital inpatient bed capacity, and all these documents all are being printed and costing a fortune to put together, and they're not being implemented. And one of the things that struck me when the Minister spoke, or done his report a couple of days ago, he was saying 7 years into the strategy, 40 of the 52 recommendations are considered implemented. What does that mean to the patients who are trying to gather up the money to go to their hospital appointments? Yeah. Patients, sick people and their families are being punished by attend their hospital appointments.
Listen, and we don't
and
have
this
to.
Is absolutely scandalous.
It's scandalous enough without putting layers on. But you know, often, say for instance, these cancer patients could be the principal earner in the house, and I think you mentioned this. So they're not earning as much at work. They very likely at this day and age could be in a house that's got defective concrete. Do you know what I mean? So you look at all these layers that people are having to deal with, and then they go down and are faced with a huge bill for simply parking the vehicle to go and get treatment in an attempt to get better. And you have a car park that's making €1 million. The HSC...
$1 million.
Sorry, the car parks have taken in 3.5 million, as I mentioned, and it's going up. In Galway, 630,000 in 2020, 657 in 2021, 933 in 2022, and $1 million in 2023. Any business would be delighted with that growth, but that growth is happening
without a
off
doubt.
the back of sick people.
sick people. And yeah, we had Bernard Gloucester, the CEO of the Health Service Executive, saying about cancer continues to be a key area of focus for the HSE, with measures taken to support timely access to diagnosis and treatment. And he goes on to say how great and wonderful the work that they're doing. They're doing it. They're punishing the sick people. Absolutely. And if you have, as you said, a principal earner in the family, look at the cost and how that impacts on the family life. And you've talked about the defective blocks. I mean, this is scandalous. If you're a sick person and you have a hospital appointment, you're being sent there because someone who is medically qualified to make a diagnosis has referred you to the hospital for treatment. You should not be punished for attending your necessary medical appointment. And our government and our health service and our politicians should hang their heads in shame. There should be no charges. Maybe for a visitor, yes, it could if you're a visitor, but if you're a patient, you should be issued with a pass or a ticket to attend your hospital appointment. End of story. This is scandalous.
And let's make it clear as well, by the way, the HSE strategy is to compel us to travel to these places for treatment, because the argument with Centre of Excellence and all that kind of stuff and whatever about that means we are facing, and it is the plan going forward, as much as we might try and resist it, we are facing these long journeys going forward. So not only the inconvenience, the time, the stress of the travel, the cost of the travel, then when you get there, the insult to the injury is the car parking charges. So at the very least, if the model is to make us travel, and we don't agree with that, but that seems to be the way it is don't insult us then by ripping us off in the car park.
Absolutely. I'm telling you, to me, it's the big boys looking after their friends and business. And we go back to the famous Donegal Action for Cancer Care map. And if you look, remember, we have the centres of excellence, always the Galway, Dublin line, and below it, the prostate access, rapid access clinics, the breast check clinics. Where are we? Up here in Donegal. And we are being punished for being residents of Donegal and forced to travel and added unnecessary cost to us. Parking for patients, all patients who are attending hospital, should be free. End of story. And our government, HSE, National Cancer Control Programme, and politicians, hang your head in shame.
Betty, thank you very much indeed, as always. Things on
Sorry,
just before.
Greg, I'm sorry. I feel really angry about this. I suppose it's important to say as well, in the context of Letterkenny.
That's exactly what I was about to ask you.
I would find that on Letterkenny, for patients, if you are in difficulty or you think you're going to be there all day, I would generally hope that if you would go along to the car park attendants and explain your situation, they might be able to help you in some way. But the reality is there should be no car parking charges for patients attending necessary hospital and in some cases life-saving services.
All right, Betty.
End of story.
Thanks so much
Thank
indeed,
you,
as
Greg.
always. Keep up the great work. Thank you. Betty Holmes, spokesperson for Donegal Action for Cancer Care. I've got access to, obviously, emails from An Garda Síochána, and there's something that has been happening over the last couple of weeks that I could not ignore, and that was the frequency and regularity of 14, 15 and 16-year-olds going missing, to the point whereby literally one a day has gone missing across the country. And so on some occasions, 2 a day, 3 a day. All this month so far, we're in the, what month are we at? We're at the 19th, and we've had in excess of 20, 14, 15, 16, mid-teens going missing. Now, that happens all the time, and I should say as well, by the way, thankfully, pretty much always the day after, 2 days later, they're found safe, and that's sent out by An Garda Síochána as well. But the trend is such that it made me think that there must be something on social media. There have been TikTok trends in the past, how long can you go missing for, or whatever it might be. And I'm not saying that's the case in this case, but I can't do anything about it. But I would love if on a national level, this was being looked into. Why is it happening? What is the trend? Now, some people say it's because of the pressure, the mental health pressures on younger people. I'm not saying that that's not the case. I simply don't know, but I would love it to be looked into. I don't know whether it's the HSE that might do so or whoever, but I can't be the only one that's noticing that every day a 14, 15 or 16-year-old has gone missing this month. It hasn't been the case. You would see them frequently, maybe 2 a week, 1 a week, none a week. And thankfully, 99.9% of the time, from what I can see, they return home either the next day or the day after or the day after that. But why is it particularly in this month that this particular age group of young people are going missing every day? Is there something going on that we aren't aware of? Do you think it's something that perhaps needs to be looked at in a little bit more detail? I want to speak to Freddie Gillen here, who's just joining us on line one with his parking experience. How are you getting on, Freddie?
I'm well, Greg. Thank you very much indeed.
Right, you were down in Dublin 6 weeks ago. What happened to you and what was your experience?
Well, I had an appointment for 2 o'clock or sometime around that. We went into Beaumont Hospital. We went round all the car parks that we could see, and every one that we seen was for staff only. And we seen one on the way in now, the barriers were broken on it.
Yeah.
You know, there was nothing there to say you couldn't park or anything else.
Mm-hmm.
So we went back into it. We were looking to see where you could do, pay machine or something. There was absolutely nothing in it. We seen cars parked up in the grass and everywhere. So there was a car parking space there, and I decided to take it.
Mm-hmm.
And we had to walk around then for a good 20 minutes just to get to where I was going to. We went in. We'd done the business. We weren't done, I would say, in all fairness, to the appointment that stuck to it. But we were in about a half an hour or 45 minutes. And we had to walk back to the car. Total time was, I would say, maybe 2 hours.
Yeah.
And back to the car was clamped.
No.
Yeah. And after traveling, we say they got to 3.5 hours, 4 hours to get there. To find that the car was clamped whenever we came back. We looked to see where there was a pay point or anything else. We couldn't see one. Now, I did look to see did it say anything about clamping, and yes, it did.
Right.
But I took a photograph of it. It was in behind a bush.
Yeah. But also, too, you were going down there having had an aneurysm, an appointment in Dublin,
Right,
a lot
yeah.
on your mind, other than trying to find a sign behind a bush.
Exactly, but that's where it ended up. But I couldn't believe that the barriers were broken and never repaired. Now, I am going to appeal it because the fact is I have the photographs of it.
Now, you had to phone a clamping company to get the clamp off. How long did it take for them to land, and how much did it cost you?
Well, it cost me €100. I'm a pensioner.
Oh, no.
So basically, it'd be equivalent to somebody having €1,000 a week, and it's going to cost them $500 to get it off.
Yeah.
But it wasn't only that. It actually said on the forms it could take them up to 2 hours to get there.
Mm-hmm.
Now, remember, we're hitting 4 o'clock.
Right.
And another 2 hours would be 6 o'clock. But
yes.
Right, they were around fairly fast because we were told by the clamping company we had to pay it before anybody had even come to take it off.
Yeah.
So if I hadn't got a card, if I was incapable of making these calls, we wouldn't have been unclamped.
And there's one comment here, Freddie, just before the news that worries me. You say if you get another appointment in Dublin, you wouldn't take it because of the lack of proper parking.
No,
that's worrying.
Absolutely
Freddie.
not. And I do have another one. I have to go back now down to see them about what the results were, but the aneurysm, I had the aneurysm all taken out. Everything was sorted.
Okay.
But this is just appointment now to see specialists. So to me, I would rather die than go back down to Dublin again. And I'm serious about this.
Well, don't say that, Freddie.
I would actually rather just give it a bye because you know for a fact you're going to be clamped before you get back up.
Right. Well, listen, come here.
And,
we don't want you saying that. There's bound to be someone out there that can give some advice or an air code or something, Freddie. Listen, thank you very much for joining us. I really do appreciate it. Hopefully all the results come back good for you. And you have to make the appointment, Freddie. We don't want to lose you, okay?
Oh, no.
Right, okay. We don't want to lose you. All right, Freddie,
Good luck.
take care. Bye-bye. Thank you very much indeed.
The county's #1 talk show, The 9 till Noon Show on Highland Radio.
It's 11 o'clock. Let's get a news update with Donald Kavanagh.
Thank you, Greg. Good morning. The Dáil's been told the state is saving €500 million a year because of the work being done by family carers in Donegal, with a further €375 million being saved in Sligo and Leitrim. The figures were presented by Deputy Marion Harkin during a Dáil debate on the abolition of the means test for the carers' allowance. She said that measure should be called the mean test. Cancer services here have been underfunded by €180 million since 2017. The Irish Cancer Society is launching its Budget 2025 submission today, calling on the government to properly invest in the National Cancer Strategy and also provide more support to patients. It says the scheme's budget should have increased incrementally by €110 million over the past 7 years, but was only topped up by 65. The race is on to become the next leader of the Green Party if she chooses to run. Minister Pippa Hackett has been endorsed by Junior Minister Oisin Smith and Senator Pauline O'Reilly. Catherine Martin, the Deputy Leader at present, has ruled herself out. Integration Minister Roderick O'Gorman hasn't yet announced his intentions. Junior Minister Malcolm Noonan has said he will not be putting his name forward. A 27-year-old man's been charged with a number of offences following a serious assault at a house in the Garver Road area of Kilrea in County Derry on Monday. He's been charged with attempted murder, assault occasioning actual bodily harm, threats to kill and causing unnecessary suffering to an animal. A woman and 2 other men who were also arrested have been released on bail pending further investigations. HICWA has published reports on 2 unannounced inspections carried out at centres for people with disabilities in Donegal. 4 non-compliances were noted in the case of Dunshenny House in Cardona, while 1 was noted in the case of the Clohan Centre. Both centres had 3 residents present at the time of the inspections. And the government is facing more calls to reduce the VAT rate for the hospitality sector outside Dublin to 5%. The sector has long warned of financial pressures threatening viability, with 212 food-led businesses shutting down in the first 3 months of the year, according to the Restaurants Association. The Rural Independent Group is proposing a Dáil motion to lower the VAT rate for tourism and hospitality from 13.5% to 9%. They're the headlines. We're back with headlines again at 12 noon.
Donald, thank you very much indeed. And we'll be back with more in the 9 till noon show after we take a break.
The 9 till noon show is brought to you by Letterkenny Credit Union, offering low-rate car loans with fast approval. Apply online at letterkennycu.ie or in office today.
I'm through with play.
The blockbuster production of Wicked returns to the Bordgash Energy Theatre, Dublin. Winner of over 100 Golden Globes and 10 Tony Awards, ranked in the West End's top 10 longest-running musicals of all time, and a show that has been seen by 65 million people worldwide. Join Highland Radio Friday 9th of August as we take part in the magic. Call us today at 07491 25000 or book your place through the outlet at highlandradio.com.
Discover a new standard in healthcare at Greenview Medical Centre, Letterkenny. For routine checkups or urgent concerns, Greenview Medical Centre offers children's consultations, referrals, prescriptions and specialised male and female healthcare. Don't wait to get the care you deserve. Book now at greenviewmedicalcentre.ie or call 074 920 2070. Early morning and late evening appointments available. Greenview Medical Centre, Riverside Retail Park, Letterkenny. A new health horizon.
The life of a Charlie's chip is never dull. Once they're selected, they're off to Charlie's, where they lose that jacket, have a nice wash, and get into shape. Before going out, there's always a few nerves, totally unnecessary, because, let's face it, they always go down well. Enjoy Charlie's chips to sit in or take away daily from 12 to 8 at Pierce Road, Letterkenny. When the hunger hits, pull into Charlie's.
Don't wait or dream of having that perfect smile. David McConville Orthodontics in Donegal Town has expanded and are thrilled to announce that they are now taking on new patients with no waiting list. Let us prioritise you and start your new smile journey today. Visit davidmcconvilleorthodontics.ie or call 074 97235506. David McConville Orthodontics, Donegal Town, creating smiles with care.
Need a suit for a special occasion? Visit the menswear team at McElhenney's Ballybuffet. With a collection of mix and match suiting, our team will get you fully styled for your next event. McElhenney's Ballybuffet, where you can buy or hire a suit.
Go all out
Aldi as we celebrate 25 years of everyday low prices. Over this time, we've provided an ever-expanding range of exciting products and fresh produce at fantastic prices. Working with amazing colleagues, past and present, as well as supporting hard-working Irish producers. And we've picked up a fair crop of awards too. So, it's time to party like it's 1999. Follow the path to lower prices? Go all Aldi.
Now, as part of this week's Wellness Wednesday, we are going to speak to Naomi Fitzgibbon, Director of Nursing and Services with the Irish Motor Neuron Disease Association, about motor neuron disease and the Irish Motor Neuron Disease Association's annual campaign Voice for MND. Naomi, good morning to you. Thank you so much for your time.
Good morning, Greg. Thank you for inviting us on.
I think public awareness of motor neuron disease has increased greatly in the last number of years, but still we all have something to learn. So can you describe to us motor neuron disease and the impact it has on an individual?
Sure, Greg. And the awareness has been raised, but there's still a lot of work to do. What happens with motor neuron disease is that really the nerves stop working properly, and that affects every organ, every limb, everything in your body. It's a slow progressing disease for some people, but it can be quite fast in other people. So some people might notice a change in their voice, and that's why we're doing this campaign, is really to highlight the change, particularly in people's voice. So their voice might become a little bit slurred, it might become a little bit difficult to speak, swallow can change. People's limbs, may not work as they did. People might notice pins and needles, people might notice a little weakness in their leg, trips and falls. There's many, many different signs and symptoms of motor neuron disease. So it's not an easy disease to diagnose, unfortunately, and that is the difficulty in it. It's not like other diseases where you get 1, 2, 3, and 4 different things, and that means you have that particular disease. Motor neuron is very subtle. It takes a long time to diagnose, and that is very, very difficult for people.
So does that mean it's almost like a process of elimination before you're left with motor neuron disease, rather than being specifically able to identify it?
Pretty much, Greg. That's unfortunately what happens. People will go to, maybe it's something wrong with they feel they're going to an osteopath or a physiotherapist to see what's wrong with the weakness in their leg, or maybe they think that the slurring of the speech is something to do with their brain. So all of those things have to be outruled, of course, which is really important to make sure that it is nothing else. But then unfortunately it kind of boils down to, well, these are the symptoms and this may lead to a diagnosis of motor neuron disease, which will happen in, various tests specifically will be done, and people will be then referred to either Beaumont Hospital or their local hospital to get a diagnosis.
In terms of those who may get MND, are there indicators or things that make people, more susceptible to it? Is there going to be passed from one person to another? That type of stuff. I don't hear that talked about too much.
It is, well, they say that about 15% of motor neuron disease can be genetic. So that means that it can pass down through the family. It doesn't mean that somebody is going to get it. It means that there's a higher risk for those people. And there's a huge amount of research being done into the genetics, but at the moment it's it's really at kind of the early stages, and unfortunately there isn't much treatment for those people who have those genes. For the 80%, 85% in the rest of the population, there's no known cause. It's really very unusual. People don't know, and that's where the really important piece of research is being done in Ireland, but also abroad in the world. And Professor Hardman in Beaumont Hospital is very involved in research in Europe and in the States, so that she keeps an eye on all of that.
Obviously, with the amazing work that Charlie Bird did and others, I became aware of many people in Donegal with MND. You could be forgiven for thinking that it's on the increase, or it's more prevalent than we thought in the past. Or is it that high profile people, and we'll get on to the Voice, and it's it's a fine pun, but is it that
Mm-hmm.
the likes of that gave people the voice to sort of talk more about it, or say, actually, that's what happened to my dad, and
Yeah.
I want to talk about it as well?
That is true. Charlie Bird, very high profile, not afraid to speak out and speak about his journey and how it was for him. And not a lot of people wanted to talk about it publicly at all. But what he wanted to do was he raised vital funds for us and for Pieta House, but he also raised awareness of what it's like to live with motor neuron disease. So that did encourage people to
Yeah,
talk
because we
about
did see the
their disease.
progression
Yeah.
of his disease,
Yeah.
didn't we? Really,
Very difficult.
and he
Yeah.
talked an
And he
awful
was
lot. Sorry, go ahead, Naomi.
no, he did. He was very open about it, and he was open about the struggles that he was having, how it affected him, his whole family, his wife Claire. He really talked quite openly, and that is something that does happen. There is no one type. There's not one type of MND either. There's a few different types. So Charlie Bird had one type of MND, and that really did affect his voice, and it progressed quite quickly. There are other types that are slower. So it's not. That is the difficulty with it as well. We take each individual, we look at them, we need to see what their supports are and how we can support them as an organisation.
But the
And
focus
that's
of
what
this
we do.
campaign is on voice deterioration.
It is.
80% of people with MND experience voice deterioration, which
Mm.
obviously has a significant impact on their day-to-day lives.
hmm It is, and it is, some people will start off with their voice being affected straight away, and potentially could lose their voice quite quickly. And that's really what we want to highlight. And that's, that's why this Voice for MND campaign, it's to raise awareness. If you are having problems with speech, obviously get it checked out. If you are diagnosed with motor neuron disease and you're starting to notice changes in your voice, there are things that we can do. So it's getting in touch with your MND nurse. They'll probably be talking about it to you anyway around your speech and what to do to preserve your speech. And we are lucky enough to be able to fund voice banking and other voice repair and Speak Unique, which is a voice banking repair and banking your voice. It's only available to.
That's recording familiar sayings, or we do repeat quite a lot, but it means that you can express that in your own voice.
Well, what Speak Unique does, it's very particular, built for people with MND, and we're the only country outside of the UK that has it available to us at the moment. And what you do is somebody with MND, they read a book of 20 minutes, 30 minutes long, and it records your voice so that it has your voice, your own inclination, your personal voice versus a more kind of computerized voice. It's really, really important that people are able to maintain the personality in their voice, that it is their voice that they're able to use when they're speaking to people through the electronic systems that they use.
And of course, there's a MND storyline on Coronation Street at the moment, and a lot of the focus on that is the voice deterioration, which presumably is helpful. The more eyes and ears on this issue, the better.
Absolutely. I mean, it's and that's why that this campaign is important, is that people understand what it is like for somebody with MND, to lose their voice. There's a lot of misunderstanding. If somebody has slurred speech, people would think, oh, well, maybe they're on some drugs, or they've had too much to drink, and that does happen. And that is really, we want to dispel those myths, is to make people aware that it may not be. Somebody obviously may have different issues with their voice as well, but it might be MND, and to take that into consideration and give people time to explain and not presume the worst of somebody when they are having difficulties with their voice.
And I wonder, as part of this survey, 93% of respondents stated that voice deterioration affects their social interactions, the majority indicating it makes social situations uncomfortable, and 4 out of 10 avoid social situations altogether due to this issue. Is that how they feel, rather than being unable to function in these environments? In other words, they will avoid them because of maybe the judgment, maybe people's lack of patience in listening to them. Do you know what I mean? So they possibly could continue in these social situations, but choose not to because of the voice deterioration.
And that's correct, and it is different for everybody. Some people, find that they feel embarrassed, they find it a struggle, it's too much to try and explain to people, and puts them in a difficult situation, so they opt out of that. And other people don't. So it's very much up to the individual. But I think, and that's why we highlight this campaign. To make other people aware, to give people time, let them understand what the problem is with their voice, and give them the opportunity to take the time if they have to use voice amplification, if they have to use apps, if they have to use Speak Unique, is that they give people that time and not just disregard them as having, maybe had too much to drink. So we really want to encourage people to give people time. And that's part of the campaign, is to raise the awareness around, people losing their voices, to get a group together, stay silent for 30 minutes and see how you get on, and see what it's like to be not able to communicate with somebody, and how that actually affects you, and how it affects your interaction with other people, and what that is like, to give you, I suppose, a very little insight into what it's like for somebody living with motor neuron disease.
There's no cure currently for motor neuron disease. A two-part question. Firstly, I suppose, is there any progress in that regard? But secondly, there are treatments that will work for some people, because MND, as you mentioned, it affects the individual from person to person, really, to a lot of in a lot of cases. But do you think we're heading towards some sort of a cure or early indicators? And B, what are the treatments like to help manage the symptoms, or indeed slow the progression?
Excuse me. So with the research, there are no cures at the moment, as you say. There's incredible research being done, being led by, we're very lucky to have Professor Hardiman in Ireland leading the charge there and across Europe. So she works internationally. So what they are looking at is very, very much around the genetics, what is causing it. They're trying to find the cause. So then once they find the causes, they can start to look towards treatments. Unfortunately, there is not, much in the way of treatment. And what we do now is you treat the causes. So for example, if it's with the voice banking, if it's weakness in legs, what can you do? Is it physiotherapy, or the supports, all of the mobility issues that occur, what is the issue, and then that is treated, as opposed to we can't treat the cause yet because we don't know what's actually causing MND. So it's very complex.
It is.
But there is hope, and the research is being done. And, we're very lucky in Ireland to have such expertise as well.
Yeah.
Within Beaumont Hospital and CUH and around the country as well. And Letterkenny, they do an incredible job, and the community, of looking after people with MND. And our nurses are very much linked in with the community team to support anybody in Donegal who has MND.
Some of the symptoms of MND may or may not be present. Generally, though, they do start gradually and worsen over time. And this is not to startle anyone, because there's a lot of crossover between the common symptoms of MND and other things as well. MND is rare, but it is there. So people need to note if they have a weakness in the arms, legs, or both, muscle wasting and shrinkage, muscle cramps and stiffness, difficulty speaking, swallowing, or breathing, changes in thinking and behaviour. So effectively, some of them, all of them, none of them may or may not be present. They could be other things, but the earlier you get a diagnosis, presumably the better. And also then, if it comes to a point whereby you are going to be using technology, presumably the earlier as well that you voice bank and what have you, the better. But don't ignore it, Naomi. That's the message anyway. And as I say, it's likely to be something else, but you can't make that determination yourself.
Absolutely. And that, unfortunately, is the difficulty with motor neuron disease. It is hard to diagnose, but absolutely, speak to your GP about it and concerns, and get the referral in. And, GPs and consultants will do their absolute utmost. And it is hard to diagnose as well. And that can be very difficult to get the diagnosis. And then when it happens, when people link in with us, we are here to support them from the very moment of diagnosis for as long as we're needed.
All right, too. And I suppose families need support as well, because, it can just rip the rug under everyone. And I've spoken to, it's
Yeah.
amazing the strength and resilience of young people. We talk about them not sometimes having enough of that, but in the face of a crisis, I've spoke to some amazing young people, even after they've lost their father. In the cases for me, they advocate on their behalf and they speak with such strength. I find it amazing, but I suppose there is all the supports do for those around a person with a motor neuron disease diagnosis.
Yeah, and it does. And that's what people who are diagnosed say, and we know this from, speaking to people every day of the week, is that it affects everybody, not just the person with the motor neuron disease, it's the whole family. And we're very aware of that. And we did some research last year with people who are living with MND, their families. And we have started a carers program, and we've completed 2 courses of that. The next one will be in September. And we're looking to, create more supports for people living with motor neuron disease and their families. And that is one. And then we will have later on in the year, we have our conference coming up. That's going to be in Dundalk on the 4th and 5th of October. And people will be able to come and meet each other, and we will have education and support for people at that. We also provide counselling, free counselling through, the local counsellors for people and their families with MND. So if anybody does need that extra psychological support, they can get in touch with their MND nurse or directly with MND Ireland, and we will provide that support for them.
Listen, thank you very much for that. I really do appreciate it. If people want more information and to get more details on the Motor Neuron Disease Association's annual campaign, which is Voice for MND, where can they go?
If they go to the website, they can get all of the information on there. So that is www.imnda.ie. And all of the information, any ideas around fundraising, because we get 85% of our fundraising is from people who are living with MND, or, as you were saying, families who support the organisation. And it's really important because that's the funds that we put back into our services to support people with MND and their families.
Okay, listen, have a wonderful day. Thank you so much for your time. I do appreciate it. That was Wellness Wednesday, and that was Naomi Fitzgibbon, who is the Director of Nursing and Services with the Irish Motor Neuron Disease Association. And their annual campaign this year is Voice for MND. If you have anything you wish to say about that, let us know, please. 086 60 25,000. That is the WhatsApp and text number. Or feel free to give us a call as well if you want to do that. It's 07491 25,000.
The county's #1 talk show, The 9 till Noon Show on Highland Radio.
The 9 till Noon Show with Letterkenny Credit Union. Simplify your debts with a debt consolidation loan from Letterkenny Credit Union. Call us on 074 910 2126 or apply online via our app or in office today.
Find the sunshine at McElhenney's and Ballybuffet. Shop in store and discover thousands of discounted lines with at least 20% off. Purchase any eligible discounted product with the sunshine on it to be in with a chance of winning a holiday worth €1,500 in collaboration with Atlantic Travel Letterkenny. Don't miss out. Visit us in store at McElhenney's Ballybuffet and find your sunshine.
Discover the award-winning Central Hotel Donegal Town, where exceptional dining meets stunning surroundings. Enjoy quality cuisine from 8 a.m. until 9 p.m, including breakfast, brunch, bar food, or exquisite evening a la carte menus. Experience our unique local Asian fusion dishes, expertly crafted by our talented chefs in our newly renovated Chapman's restaurant. For the perfect dining experience, book now by calling the Central Hotel Donegal Town on 074 9721 027.
Go full family dinners on Lidl Plus. Mix and match any 3 Irish barbecue meats for just €9. Make chicken dishes to please the whole table, bring your beef burgers to the next level, and pick from our succulent pork. Family dinners sorted all week. Go on, mix and match any 3 for €9. Scan the Lidl Plus app and go full Lidl today.
If you're running low on worktop space, the new Ninja Double Stack Air Fryer is perfect. Raymond Sweeney here from Ben Sweeney Aeronix. With 2 stacked drawers and 2 meal racks, it evenly cooks 4 layers of food at the same time. Perfect for up to 8 people, saving up to 55% on energy costs compared to conventional ovens. See the new Ninja Double Stack Air Fryer at Ben Sweeney Aeronix, Port Road, Letterkenny, or in the shopping centre, Dunlow.
The Lennon Festival are delighted to announce that the RNLI Soapbox Derby will be held in Ramelton on Sunday, the 7th of July at 2 p.m. Entry fee per cart is €20, and all carts must register before Saturday, the 6th of July by calling PJ Bunner on 087 2899 232.
Now, you're very welcome back to the 9 till noon show here in Highland Radio. We're switching gears and we're talking about athletics because a really remarkable achievement occurred over the last 24 hours, and it's our own Mark English setting a new Irish record and qualifying for his third Olympic Games. His time, his 800 metres time, 1 minute 44.69 seconds. This was in Finland. Patsy McGonigal is former Olympic team manager with Irish Athletics, is with us now. Patsy, good morning to you, first and foremost, of course.
Good morning, Greg.
What a remarkable achievement. Put it into context for us.
Well, a remarkable achievement, of course, on so many levels. I mean, first of all, let's look at it. This is his third Olympic Games. If Wright were right away back in the London Olympics, he would have been selected for that as well. It would have been his fourth Olympic Games, believe it or not. But the reality is it will be his third Olympic Games. And that with the background that he has in terms of university, qualifying as a doctor, and dealing with all the elements of that, and also qualifying for the Olympic Games once again is absolutely unbelievable achievement. And on this occasion in Turku last night, in a world-class field, he's right up there on the finish line with the Swedish guy Kramer, who also is a world-class athlete, and he gets the Irish record. He breaks his own Irish record, actually, and he gets that Olympic qualifying time. So you can imagine the excitement and the delight when we got that news, and we watched it on the stream here live. So it was very exciting.
Now, I mean, obviously, at the very highest level, percentages is so important, and eking out every little bit of an advantage you can. So the significance of the 0.02 is significant in and of itself. In terms of an 800 metres athlete, at 31 years of age, where might he be sort of in his peak, if you know what I mean? Traditionally speaking.
Yes, I understand what you're saying. You would have imagined, and I would have imagined, I have to honestly say, that he would have had difficulty retaining and improving his speed over his 800 metres as he got into the 30s. Now, that has been blown away by this performance last night, and, that in itself is something else. But generally speaking, come into the 30s, you would imagine his basic speed, his real speed would decrease. But obviously, he has, in many ways, has the experience, et cetera, in his favour of 10, 15 years pretty much at world-class level. So, it's a combination of many things, and that's where it all happened for him last night. And, even his racing tactics last night were absolutely unbelievable. So, that's experience as well.
Are we at a high in Irish athletics at the moment, Patsy, do you think?
Oh, absolutely, Greg. We're at an all-time high in terms of just the recent European Championships, and that's something we've got to keep a wee eye on as well. Of course, we're at an all-time high. We had an unbelievable Championships, and we have some exciting athletes going forward to the Olympic Games. But we've got to put that into perspective. The European Championships were the European Championships. The Olympic Games is a global event. It's an absolutely off-the-radar event, and we've got to retain some perspective in terms of the athletes that are now travelling onwards from Europeans,
And such is the level of competition at the Olympics. And Mark is not going there to make up the numbers. I am absolutely confident of that. But to qualify for the Olympics and to do it not once or twice, but 3 times, it really is a remarkable achievement for an individual.
It certainly is. Just for an individual, just per se, it's an absolutely unbelievable achievement. To retain the desire, to go again, and to go again, that's special. That's absolutely special. But he is a special athlete. He's the greatest athlete we have ever produced out of Donegal, and he continually has been running and indeed medaling at European level. I mean, he's 4 European Championship medals, and that, in the Irish context, is a big achievement. When he looks back at his career and he counts the medals and counts his achievements, that in itself. But records qualifying for the Olympics, the standard that he's maintained, the attitude that he's maintained, the respect that he has in the sport, that's a big story.
Yes. And not to mention all the other stuff he's at as well. As if he wouldn't be busy enough, it makes it so remarkable. And you know what's not measurable, but it's inevitable, is the inspiration he'll provide to others to get involved in this sport. Because if you see it, you want to be it. And as I say, that can be a little bit sometimes hard to measure. But I have no doubt there'll be someone else from Donegal in 14, 16 years' time that will say, well, I watched Mark English at the Olympics and I decided I want to be Mark English. And that's another amazing thing. Hopefully it puts the fire in the belly of a new generation coming forward.
That's interesting, because just 30 minutes after that performance last night, I was down in Finn Valley for training, and there was about maybe 100 young athletes, and I pulled them all together, and they wouldn't have been aware of the performance, because it was just so soon. And I said, just remember tonight that one of your club athletes has achieved and qualified for the Olympic Games. Maybe sometime in your later life you will remember this night, and it will inspire you to do something and to be inspired to stay in the sport, to keep going, whatever it may be. But exactly making the point that you've just made, inspiring the next generation.
Brilliant stuff. And you've your role in that as well, of course, Patsy, in bringing them through. Thank you so very much indeed. That's a legend of athletics and sport in Donegal himself there, Patsy McGonigal. I think we can all agree on that. Former Olympic team manager with Irish athletics, but just marking the remarkable achievement. Mark English, he cleaned, he reduced the Irish record for the 800 metres by 0.02 seconds. That's the margins we're talking about. 1 minute 44.69 seconds in Turku in Finland. He is off to the Olympics again. All right, okay, we'll be talking business in a moment. Stay where you are.
The 9 till noon show is brought to you by Letterkenny Credit Union. Digital loans now available. Apply online or via our app today and get your loan transferred directly to your current account.
Letterkenny Medics is Ireland's first multi-purpose private medical urgent care and aesthetics centre. Dr. Mohammed El Preya and Dr. Ripu Singh are offering daily appointments from 10 a.m. to 8 p.m. 7 days per week. Our walk-in clinics offer cardiac screening, weight management, male and female health screening, minor injury, minor surgery, aesthetics and travel vaccinations. To book your appointment, go to letterkennymedics.ie or call 07492 02955. Letterkenny Medics. We listen if you want to talk.
Don't know if you know Alice and Pat. Late 40s, couple of kids, been together 17 years. Never married, of course, but that's not a problem. Until something happens, and suddenly words like unmarried, inheritance, and substantial tax bill enter the equation. You never need proper estate planning. Until you do. That's why the experienced team at McElhenney & Associates are here to help. Find us online or call 074 917 5989. McElhenney & Associates Solicitors, Stranraer.
Here at Kelly Cleaning Equipment, we have everything you need to clean your home, garden and business. As an official Gold Plus cashier dealer, we offer brand-leading domestic and commercial pressure washers, vacuum cleaners, floor scrubbers, steam cleaners, carpet cleaners and much more. Come and see us at Eurohouse, Killybegs Road, Donegal Town or online at kellycleaningequipment.ie. And for a limited time only, claim up to €150 cashback when purchasing a Cashier Professional Pressure Washer. Kelly Cleaning Equipment. Choose Cashier.
Looking for that Hoka experience? Try the new range at bmcsports.ie. New Arahi 7, Clifton 9 or the Eversoft Bondi 8. Step into our safe size experience so you can fit the best trainer for your foot. Let us make your trainer experience the best it can be. Brian McCormick Sports, Main Street, Letterkenny.
Transform your home with Hegarty's Home Interiors in Buncrana. Discover a wide selection of stylish furniture and decor to create your perfect space. Our expert team offers personalised advice to match your style and budget. Visit us on Main Street, Buncrana. Open Monday to Saturday 9 a.m. until 6 p.m. or visit hegartyshomeinteriors.ie. Hegarty's Home Interiors, making homes beautiful since 1946.
Business Matters on Highland Radio is brought to you by Local Enterprise Office Donegal. If you have an idea to start or grow your business within Donegal, contact the Local Enterprise Office team to find out more about the supports available for businesses. See localenterprise.ie/Donegal.
Okay, the Highland Radio Business Matters podcast is going live for you today, and we'll remind you at the end of this item that it's broadcast on the radio for you after 6 o'clock, and the recent listenership figures show that more of you are listening to it on the radio as well, which is always encouraging. Chris Ashmore is its presenter. He's in studio with me now. Good morning to you, Christopher.
Good morning, Greg.
How are you getting on?
I'm getting on very well.
That's good. Cost of living survey out. Let's get to some news first. What's going on there?
Yeah, just this was brought out by Ernst and Young, and I know you're a big fan of all these surveys.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, well, almost 2/3 of Irish respondents remain concerned about the cost of living. No surprise there. It showed that about 48% of people are willing to switch to private labels and cheaper versions of high-end brands, and also there's a trend towards people more interested in discounts and vouchers that are offered by the supermarkets, which may tie in with something that we're talking about later on.
Sure,
so
any which way you can save a few bob.
Yeah, exactly. So that just to note that.
All right, I was chatting to Kieran Kelly. He's an author. He's got a book here now, and it all started in lockdown, and the next story is along those lines too.
Yes, nice little article in the Ulster Herald this week about a Tyrone man living in New York who turned a lockdown project into one of the most popular Irish food delivery services in the United States. Niall Boyle from Bera and his business partner Noel Kieran from County Clare. Well, they founded a company called the Irish Breakfast Box. And basically it delivers Irish fries directly to customers' doors.
All the ingredients.
Yeah, the whole shebang. Now, let me just give you some more details. What happened was...
I'm starving. I don't think I want any more details.
Yeah, they tested it out and they got the ingredients from a butcher in New York, and then the teas, the beans, the breads, they were imported from Ireland. It's all organic, and kind of one thing led to another. I do.
Heinz or Bachelors?
Both.
No, I used to be Heinz.
Yeah, I probably.
Bachelors
I probably do eat Bachelors
they're
more.
More salty and saucy,
and they're Irish.
Canned
in Ireland, yes.
Of course. Or they're canned in Ireland. The beans can be coming from anywhere.
Yes.
Did you see the British spuds? There's a bag of. Where is that picture of British spuds? A councillor from the West Meath column, I think, got quite. I don't know what he said. I didn't read the post. I don't mean that in a way disrespectful. But it is, it's Irish, British spuds.
But they're being packed.
But no, I think they're actually Donegal spuds. But, repackaged as British spuds. So you've got Donegal and a Union Jack on the same bag. My word, you can't have that. But, that's not unusual. I don't think all the pizzas that we eat or buy are cooked in Italy and sent over here. And
Indeed, they are not.
I'm not sure Foster's is brewed in America and... a lot of that's done under license. I don't know. I look at it. It doesn't bother me. I think if they are Donegal spuds, and who cares how they're being packaged, fantastic for Donegal farmers. But anyway, I don't know what the story is.
Well,
like.
that's the
Why
whole
did I bring
label.
that up?
The whole labelling debate. You could do a show on that.
Oh yeah, I started with the beans.
Yeah.
You are Bachelors or Heinz?
Or Bachelors. Yeah,
bacon sandwich, red or brown sauce?
Or red.
Sausages, red or brown sauce?
Or red.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow. I'm red sauce bacon, brown sauce sausage.
So,
there you go. Anyway, sorry.
Okay.
Now,
survey's got that.
What's happening up in June 25th?
Yeah, June 25th. Now, Mentors Work. This is a government-funded mentoring program. They're hosting a webinar, which will be called E-Commerce Mastery Summit. Elevate your digital sales, expand your online reach. That's a bit of a mouthful. But the bottom line is here, it's... the keynote speaker is Amy Connolly. People may know she was the founder and CEO of Sculpted by Amy, which has been a really successful cosmetics brand set up here in Ireland, but also on the webinar. And this is what a lot of people may find very interesting. As you are no doubt aware, Greg, there is an Amazon.ie platform coming to Ireland. So this is going to give people just an insight, because a lot of Irish businesses could be selling their goods and services through Amazon.ie. So it's mentorsworklive.ie if you want to register for that, because this will mean access to a wider audience, so there will be opportunities there. So that's a webinar on the 25th of June from 9 a.m. to 1 p.m. mentorsworklive.ie.
Anything else coming up we should know about before we talk about the
Yeah,
pod?
a couple of things coming up. There's an online trading or a trading online workshop through the local enterprise office. This is about getting a voucher that you can get to help offset the costs of things like setting up a website. That's on the 10th of July. You can go to your local enterprise office for more details on that. And also just to remind people that the Letterkenny Chamber Business Awards, the closing date for entries to nominate people there is the 1st of July.
Right, okay, so talk to me about the podcast this week.
Okay, double dose. First of all, one of Europe's leading medical aesthetics clinics is opening up here in Donegal, creating in the region of 20 jobs. Therapy Clinic is investing €1 million in a new clinic in Letterkenny, which will be based in the Letterkenny Retail Park. So it's going to offer a wide range of non-surgical treatments for the skin and body. And I've been speaking with the CEO, Philip McGlade, to find out more about it.
So Therapy is a family-run Irish business. It was set up by my father 22 years ago. Today we have over 75 clinics in Ireland, the UK and America. So we employ around 1,500 people. So we'll be the largest aesthetic and medical clinic in Ireland, but also in the UK. And last year we expanded into the US, and we're currently rolling out stores throughout the US at the moment. So obviously Donegal is an area that we've been looking after for a while. So we've got massive interest from the kind of clients from Donegal asking us to open up in Donegal. So we finally did it, and we'll be opening now in July in Letterkenny. We offer a range of treatments. Our most popular treatments would be services such as laser hair removal, Botox and fillers. We also offer a range of skin services and body treatments. So we've got a full range of aesthetic needs for the people of Donegal.
All right, more from Philip McGlade in the podcast. Also, in the podcast, an interesting one.
Yeah, now most of us like to save money on purchases, maybe grab a bargain, get your value for money, and there's a new app that could prove to have considerable appeal. It's a price comparison shopping list app. It's called Savvy Spender. It was launched recently, and the man behind it is Buncrana native Stephen Harvey, who's been developing it for the past year or so. He came back from Australia. Definitely noticed the cost of living rising over here and set about doing this. And essentially the aim is to enable people to better plan their weekly shop to maximise savings. And I've been speaking to him about the business and what it entails.
Until now, Savvy Spender has been a website that provides money-saving tips and also aggregates merchant offers and discounts. However, just over a month ago, we've just launched an app. So the Savvy Spender app, it aims to help users to better plan their weekly shopping to maximize their savings at the supermarkets. So users, whenever they go into the app, they can compare the price of a single item, or they can create a list and compare the full list and compare the price across the supermarkets. The app also lets users use their list as an in-store shopping list. It has the advantage that you can make it your shopping list and you can see how much it's going to cost before you go into the shop. So that makes it a bit easier to stick to budget and also avoid impulse buys.
Yeah. Oh, I like impulse buys, but I take the point. Maybe I shouldn't like them so much. So I had a look at the app and I went for, just clicked in, a mugshot pasta, tomato and herb, 64 grams. Low fat, apparently, too. You have that information. There's no listing for Aldi. They might not stock it. For Dunn's, €1. Super Value, $1.49. Tesco, $1.19. So a 50-cent saving there, potentially speaking.
So with the app, what you can do is you can basically build your shopping list. Now, of course, you are not going to go to Dunn's for 4 items, dash over to Tesco for 3 items, back over to Lidl, back over to Aldi. But if you have your shopping list, you go through, you can find out. A lot of people will do maybe just one main shop for the week.
It's interesting with the club cards thing, right? Sorry, Chris. Because Heinz tomato soup, cup soup, it's $1.50 in Dunn's, right? It's $1.50 in Tesco, but that's a club card price.
So
you're getting a club card and you think, okay, I'm getting a bit off that, $1.50. But actually, it's the same price without a club card in Duns. So.
Yeah, no, I mean, the prices do vary quite a bit, and on the app, it's quite, stark, really. It gives you the comparison, so it's very easy to follow. And one of the things that he also has tips, he has a website already established, and there's tips on how you save money. And as you alluded to there, that the impulse buying, particularly our German discount retailers, you go in for a loaf of bread and some milk, and you come out with a hammer and a lawnmower.
That's why I go in there.
So you're getting a bargain, but you are spending more than you.
Goodfellas Stone Baked Thin Margarita Pizza, 345 grams. This would be a nightmare to keep updated, and you could. But anyway, I presume AI or something might help. $2.99 in Aldi, $4.19 in Duns, and $2.99 in Tesco. Super Value don't stock that one. But in Duns, you can buy 2 for €6, so that brings it down to €3. So you have to get 2 to get it for the same price as Aldi. That's the kind of... I mean, listen, at the end of the day, whether it informs where people go or not, certainly handy for creating a list. But, as I say, it's going to be of interest. But you can download that from the Play Store on Google. And I presume it's available on iPhone. Right, okay,
Savvy spender, and the name says it all.
I don't know how that came across on the radio. Were you talking while I was sitting looking at the app?
I was engrossed.
Were you?
Yeah,
Maybe
I mean,
was like a minute of
we
dead
started
air.
off with red sauce earlier, and I think
I
don't know what's going on
I'm
today.
not going to lie to you. I just would not trust a person who eats sausages with red sauce. It would be a red flag for me. I just wouldn't trust you, Chris.
Do you put a bit of mustard in if you're having a BLT or something?
Well, yeah, mustard is very misunderstood.
Dijon or English?
Well, Dijon's not really mustard, I would argue. What I find is that if you get a sandwich prepared for you and you want mustard on it, pretty much I'd do it with a beef sandwich. Often people don't eat mustard, so they put it on like mayonnaise. Do you know what I mean? So you have to say just a little bit of mustard, please. Right, okay. Business Matters podcast available right now. And also it's on the radio, as I say, on Sunday just after the 6 o'clock news. And if anyone wants to contact you or feedback or anything like that, Chris?
Yes, you can email me on businessmatters@highlandradio.com.
Gurmai Hugga, I bought a pack of Jacob's cream crackers for $1.75, advertised on one sign, and €2 on another. They charged me €2 at the till. My God, that's crackers, isn't it? Man, okay. Listen, thanks very much for that, Chris. We'll be back with more after these.
The 9 till noon show with Letterkenny Credit Union, now offering mortgages from €40,000 to €600,000 with no hidden fees or transaction charges. Letterkenny Credit Union, 9102127.
Rally fever is building in the northwest. Join Highland Radio for live coverage of the Donegal International Rally on air and online at highlandradio.com in association with Pulse Venue Letterkenny, your entertainment headquarters over Rally weekend, with Rhythm and Sticks and One for the Road live on Rally Friday. Pay at the door.
For a great breakfast, pull into Kelly's Diner in Letterkenny. Not just a great breakfast, but mouth-watering burgers, delicious chicken, succulent steaks, and so much more. For kids, it's not just about pancakes, but a full children's menu to choose from. Great food and great service every time. At Kelly's Diner, Letterkenny, winner of Best Family Dining at the Highland Radio Hospitality Awards.
With over 1,000 TFI Local Link door-to-door services nationwide, if you're on our route, we're on our way. To use the service, simply pre-book the day before you want to travel with your TFI Local Link office. To find out more about door-to-door services in your area, visit transportforireland.ie. We're Transport for Ireland. We're transport for you.
Pre-orders for the 242 models have begun at iMotors, and you won't want to miss these incredible offers from Nissan. Enjoy 3.99% finance across the entire Nissan range, including the SUV of the year, the Nissan X-Trail. Prefer electric? Get 0% finance on the Nissan Leaf, or save a whopping €10,000. Visit our showroom in Drumkeen or Malin today and take a test drive. These offers are limited, so hurry and take advantage now.
iMotors, fearless generation.
Atlantic Travel. Bonded, licensed and trusted in Ireland. Expert advice on your world adventure. Search for sun, cities or a last-minute escape to sandy shores. Get away this summer with tantalising offers, luxury resorts and family favourites. Free kids places still available. The offers won't last forever, but the memories will. Book now with a trusted travel agent. Atlantic Travel, Letterkenny.
Highland Radio weather updates brought to you by McElhinney's. Support a local Donegal business with McElhinney's. From fashion to home essentials, find everything you need for any occasion. Shop McElhinney's Ballybuffet for quality you can trust.
So today will be dry with long spells of hazy sunshine, but it will become a bit cloudier later in the day. Temperatures of 16 to 20 degrees, and as you would expect, it would be cooler near the coasts. Ailish Robb is a sister-in-law of Olivia Robb, who was diagnosed with MND, and Ailish joins us on the show now. How are you getting on, Ailish?
I'm not so bad, Greg, thank you.
What do you want to talk about? I think it's important that you get to say whatever you want to say rather than me trying to lead it in any particular direction with questions. I'll take the lead from you, Ailish. Do you want to talk about Olivia's diagnosis?
Yes, I certainly can. Basically, Olivia was officially diagnosed in January with motor neuron disease. Has deteriorated quite rapidly on us. So much so that she is completely and utterly debilitated now. She can't do anything for herself. She has been nursed. She needs nursing 24 hours, which has been done and is being done by mainly her husband, Brendan, who is just a farmer and an outside man. So he has taken on the role of nursing his wife, and he's doing an excellent job. But Greg, at this stage, we are crying for help.
Yeah.
So we cannot get the help that Olivia needs now at this stage.
It's 24-hour care, isn't it? Sorry, no, Ailish, Olivia requires 24-hour care now. An awful lot to expect of one individual supported by family.
Absolutely. It's a nightmare now at this stage. Brendan has done his best, but he's maxed. He's completely maxed now. Yeah. At this stage, we need 2 carers to come in the morning, get Olivia up. It's hoisting now. Get her up, get her washed, get her dressed, get her up and out. Somebody has to be with Olivia all the time because of her wants and needs. I mean, you're talking, she can't even scratch her nose. I mean, that's how desperate the whole situation is. We've been trying to get carers, and she's not entitled to them, Greg, because she's under the age of 65. Olivia is only 48 years of age. And apparently, because she is under the age of 65, then she isn't entitled to home help to come in 3 times a day like anybody elderly or anybody like cancer patients that's older or from the age of 65 older that can receive. Mm-hmm. We are involved with a very nice girl, Joanne Dowd, who is the physical and sensory department. Apparently her job is to take on, patients under the age of 65 and try and get them the help needed, but we are not being offered anything like the help you would get if you were in the over 65 category. So the most that we have been offered and the most that we have got is 8 hours, which is 8 hours from 2 girls, and they split it, and it's 1 hour each, 1 hour Monday, Tuesday, and 2 hours then Wednesday to Friday. No weekend help, no night help, no anything. So Greg, our family at the stage is completely maxed. Yeah, we don't know what else to do. Mum's in hospital here. I'm actually here with Mummy at the minute. She's an elderly lady. She's in hospital now this past 3 weeks. And because she's elderly, we don't believe her. So we're doing 24 shifts, night shifts here in hospital with Mum. And we're not as available as we were even to help Brendan and Olivia at the moment. God, we're under a lot of pressure. We're under a lot of pressure.
You're spread incredibly thin because of all the responsibilities.
Very, very, very much so.
Yeah. In terms of getting extra care, is the only option for the family to try and fund it themselves? And I know a little bit about this, and I know the cost of it, and it's incredibly expensive. But is that the only option, or?
At this stage, we have been offered, because we can get no more help. Apparently, we're not getting it. But at this stage, they did say they'll fund us 25 hours in the week.
Okay.
To go out and employ the carers ourselves.
So where would you even know where to look?
This is a problem. This is a huge problem. I have been doing almost like spokesperson, or maybe not spokesperson, but I've been trying to help Brendan and Olivia all along, and I've been trying to fight their case and speak to nurses and whatever it may be. Now, this is the next stage. I just don't know where to start. Going down, interviewing and ringing people about getting help. It's not our field. It's just so hard to know what we're supposed to do here.
And that's even if you can find the time to do that. I just don't understand. I can't understand when someone is so debilitated by this awful disease that they're not treated like others might because they're under 65. I don't see why the age is a factor here. It shouldn't be a factor. There's probably not enough supports as is, but you should be able to be getting whatever supports are available there that Olivia would be able to avail of if she was 66, for an example.
That's great. This is the thing that our family can't take on board. In the name of heavens, Olivia is so debilitated, much more debilitated than Mommy. Like, Mommy's an elderly lady. She needs so much help. It's unbelievable. And how they can dismiss it by saying she's under the age of 65. I feel strongly the HSE or this country is definitely neglecting the likes of Olivia. Or I can strongly say that she's been neglected. Strongly, yeah.
Listen, we're going to make any inquiries that we can. And if anyone contacts us who's been down this road before and can assist just in terms of identifying carers, because as you say, you're effectively supposed to do the role of the HSE, identify, like, what qualifications would a nurse in this particular field need? How would any person without the experience know that? So we're going to try and hopefully get some help for you in relation to that, some listeners' help. Someone hopefully will know what the story is, Ailish, and make the inquiries as to why this lady who is debilitated, and poor Brendan as well, trying to juggle everything, the emotional side of it, to see the love of his life deteriorating so rapidly, but also maybe, I presume, some farming interests that need to be looked after, and to get sleep and to be able to just switch off for an hour. He just doesn't have that from what I'm hearing. And then the knock-on effect for the rest of the family, because you want to do everything, Ailish, but simply you can't, especially when you're sharing out responsibilities of being with your mum. It's so tough for you all.
It is. You've just said exactly how it is. That's exactly. Brendan's nursing Olivia 24/7, and he is maxed. He doesn't begrudge it. Don't get me wrong. He
I know that.
Excellent with her. But
you can only ask so much of one human being. I don't care how strong
Absolutely.
or resilient they are. You can only go down to that well so many times.
Absolutely, Greg. That is so true. So true.
Right, leave it with us, Ailish. I don't want this to be our only contact, okay? I don't know what we can do. We certainly can try and get some answers. I want to put some of these questions directly to a person to justify it, because it's important to me that someone who stands over this decision justifies that and explains it in a very clear and cohesive way. So we're going to try and do that, and then hopefully maybe we might get something in as it relates to the qualifications that required, the availability, and others to hopefully avail of that 25 hours of care, which is not a lot, folks. It really isn't. But Ailish, listen, stay strong. Passing our love to Olivia and to Rob as well, and the rest of the family, okay? And we'll stay in touch with you.
Thank you very much, Greg.
Okay.
Thank you very much, and we will appreciate any help or any advice anybody can give us at this time. Thank you.
I get that, Ailish.
Thank you, Greg.
You're not on your own emotionally anyway, even though it might feel like it at the moment. Take care of yourself, please, and best wishes to your mum as well. Okay, thanks very much for that. We'll follow up that tomorrow, but we are going now. We'll see you tomorrow morning at 9. John Breslin